Seeing that his cheap master ignored him, Caulifla also focused his attention on the ring. Just now, Caulifla felt a threat coming from Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong looked at Caulifla opposite him and thought of Gohan's transformation. He didn't know that Caulifla had not shown her true skills before. Amazing! I didn't expect you to be able to transform into Super Saiyan 4 at such a young age. Caulifla looked at the Monkey King who had quickly recovered. Uncle, I know you didn't use your full strength just now. Use your full strength, or I won't be polite in the next attack. In that attack just now, Caulifla naturally did not use her full strength, otherwise if the power of destructive limit had been fully unleashed, Sun Wukong would have been knocked out of the ring long ago. Okay. Since you want to see it, I'll show it to you. But don't be scared to tears later. Sun Wukong felt a surge of excitement in his body. Even though his personality had changed drastically after the events of half a year ago, something in his bones still made Sun Wukong behave unnaturally when he met a strong opponent. With his eyes slightly closed, an invisible aura emanated from Sun Wukong. The original white aura disappeared, and was replaced by a purple-red aura. At the same time, Sun Wukong's hair and eyebrows also underwent a complete change at this moment, turning purple-red. The breath is peaceful, but it makes people feel the power hidden in the body. Caulifla looked at Goku's transformation and said excitedly, "Wow, I didn't expect us Saiyans to be able to transform into this." Suddenly, Sun Wukong opened his eyes. There was no violent aura attack, but it made Caulifla feel that the opponent's strength had undergone a qualitative change. On the stage, Vegeta looked at Son Goku and said, "Kakarot has gotten stronger again." Whis was also surprised. He didn't expect that after not seeing him for more than half a year, he had become stronger. It was simply incredible. His strength was not much different from that of the weaker ones among the 12 gods of destruction. And Bardas, Sun Tian, also opened his eyes and thought, is he still on that path? He is indeed the son of destiny. The other people had different expressions, but all of them cast their gazes onto the ring. Sorry to have kept you waiting. Come on, let me see how powerful Super Saiyan 4 is. Caulifla was already prepared, and as soon as Sun Wukong finished speaking, she disappeared from the spot. Boom! In the air, Super Saiyan 4 and Super God Purple and Red collided directly, and the shock wave continued to radiate in all directions. In the audience, everyone was shocked. Oh no, the protective shield of the ring can't hold up. Bardas, Sun Tian, gently tapped, and the protective shield that was about to break calmed down. Whis looked at his sister and became stronger. His sister seemed to have become stronger. On the stage, Sun Wukong and Caulifla kept fighting. One was extremely violent, with each punch heavier than the last, while the other was calm and composed, constantly resolving the opponent's attacks. For a while, the two of them fought to a standstill. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that although Caulifla had been attacking, she had no way of defeating Sun Wukong, and was instead easily controlled by Sun Wukong. Xiangpa naturally saw it, and said to Kair, "Caulifla lost. Kair, you play in the next game, prepare in advance." As expected, on the ring, the situation was completely controlled by Sun Wukong. After becoming familiar with Caulifla's moves, Sun Wukong began to fight back. Bang! Caulifla was hit by a punch and flew backwards. You must have just learned the transformation to Super Saiyan 4. You are not very familiar with the control of power yet. Caulifla naturally knew that she had learned the Super Saiyan 4 transformation shortly before setting out, but she did not expect that the other party would see through it at once. No problem, uncle, come again. Caulifla rose again and attacked Son Goku fiercely. However, after being fed by Sun Wukong, Caulifla's fighting endurance was obviously much stronger than before. Sun Wukong was also happy to give advice, constantly pointing out Caulifla's shortcomings during the battle, allowing Caulifla's combat experience to continue to improve. If at the beginning, Caulifla's level was completely unmatched by the new form of Super Saiyan 4, now she is barely worthy of it. That guy Kakarot actually gave instructions to the other party. But it's true, this little girl's form probably reminded him of Gohan. On the ring, Caulifla also clearly felt Sun Wukong's intention. This kind of opportunity is very rare and much better than that cheap master. Apart from teaching him and Kair in the beginning, Sun Tian rarely fought against them, or it could be said that the level difference was too big. Usually, it was just him and Kair who practiced against each other, and occasionally the two of them would go to Tianqiu for a fight. Unfortunately, although Son Goku had good intentions, Beerus in the audience was not happy with it. "Goku, what are you doing? Finish the fight." Hearing Beerus urging, Son Goku was helpless. "Okay, little girl. It's almost over. Caulifla is so straightforward. Although she is usually not in tune, her impression of Sun Wukong has improved a lot. I give up. And thank you, uncle. Although your strength is far inferior to my cheat master, you are still a good person. After saying that, Caulifla took the initiative to fly back to the audience seats and said to Bardas, Sun Tian, Master, I lost. That's normal. You and Kair have too little combat experience. Go find Hit, Jianshu, and the others to practice more in the future. Got it. Kair, I'll leave it to you from now on. Although Kair is still very shy, he has naturally changed a lot after following Sun Tian and the others for so long. Vegeta listened to their conversation and thought, could this scion named Kale be stronger? No way. Since the ring had been almost destroyed by Son Goku and his team, Bardas, Sun Tian, repaired the ring. Caulifla's surrender allowed Universe 7 to take the lead again, and Universe 6 sent Kale to the ring. After seeing the strength of Son Goku, he still dared to go on the ring, which shows that Kale's strength is definitely much stronger than Caulifla. Caulifla, the little girl, kept shouting in the audience, Kale. Come on. Sun Wukong clearly felt that Kale was stronger than Caulifla, and there seemed to be a more violent power in her body that had not yet been revealed. I'm Kair. Please give me your guidance. But when Kair opened his mouth, he looked shy, which made Sun Wukong wonder if there was something wrong with his feelings. Oh, please advise me. Kair asked, let's get started then, don't you need to turn into purple? Just after it ended, Sun Wukong has returned to normal. Although his purple-red state is very strong, it also consumes a lot of energy. Normally, they will not maintain that state. Not for now. Come on. As soon as he finished speaking, Kair's aura suddenly exploded, and before Sun Wukong could react, he was knocked away by a powerful force. What? How can you be so strong? On the stage, Vegeta seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly said to Sun Wukong on the stage, Kakarot, you have to be careful, he seems to be in the legendary ancient Super Saiyan form. In Vegeta's memory, he remembered that when he was very young, he heard his father say that among the Saiyans, a legendary Super Saiyan would appear every 1,000 years or so, and the most obvious feature of this Saiyan was that he was born with terrifyingly high combat power, and would become extremely violent when his spirit was stimulated. Although the Saiyans were known as a fighting nation, the strongest combat power at that time was only a little over 10,000, but the legendary Super Saiyan would have a combat power of more than 10,000 at birth, and as he grew up, his combat power would increase faster and faster. This legendary Super Saiyan is called the Ancient Super Saiyan. Once he arrives, he will often bring disaster to the Saiyan race. Generally, once discovered, he will be exiled to other planets. He will not be brought back to the tribe until the day when he can freely control the power. Once this legendary Super Saiyan returns, he will naturally become the true leader of the Saiyans, become the Saiyan King, and lead the Saiyan race to rise. However, according to historical records, there has not been a returning ancient Super Saiyan for tens of thousands of years. Although a Saiyan child born with extremely strong talents will appear among the Saiyans every 1,000 years or so, none of them has ever grown up and returned to the tribe. Vegeta remembered that before the destruction of planet Vegeta, his father told him that there was a baby whose combat power reached 10,000 at birth. However, planet Vegeta was destroyed by Frieza not long after. In Vegeta's consciousness, that ancient Super Saiyan should have been destroyed with the destruction of planet Vegeta. But just now, after Kale suddenly exploded, Vegeta suddenly felt a suppression from his blood. If he was not completely different now, he probably wouldn't even have the will to fight. However, Vegeta did not expect that the ancient Super Saiyan, whom he had never seen in the 7th universe, would actually be seen in the 6th universe, and it seemed that the ancient Super Saiyan was able to control his emotions very well. Vegeta's reminder was obviously unnecessary. Although Sun Wukong has always been a low-level warrior in his eyes, his bloodline is actually the same as Sun Tian's. It is a hidden bloodline that is stronger than the ancient Super Saiyan, and is not much different from the bloodline of the original ancestor. However, Sun Wukong did not have the opportunity of Sun Tian, and his bloodline had not been fully developed. But even so, Kair's bloodline suppression had no effect on Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong steadied himself and looked at Kair in disbelief, so strong. Even more powerful than that little girl just now. Without any hesitation, Sun Wukong directly activated the Super God Purple-Red state. Awesome, it seems that I underestimated you. Super Saiyan 4 Caulifla is very strong, but it is obvious that Kale on the opposite side is more powerful. Kair was like a humanoid Tyrannosaurus Rex. After Sun Wukong showed his strength, he increased his energy again and his entire body muscles expanded, but his speed did not decrease at all. Bring it on. He casually fired dozens of Qigong bombs at Sun Wukong. At this moment, Kaier no longer showed his previous shyness. Although he did not lose consciousness due to the surge of energy, his personality had completely changed. Sun Wukong easily knocked the Qigong bullet away and attacked directly at close range. Ha ha ha. Great timing. The two men fought back and forth, Kaier going straight ahead, each blow causing pain in Sun Wukong's arm, and any random blow had the power to reach the limit of destruction. Sun Wukong relied on his rich experience to continuously resolve Kaier's attacks. In the audience, Weiss frowned. One caulifla was nothing, but with the addition of Kale, if these two people developed and knew some things from the ancient times, it would not be a good thing for them, the angels. The key point is that these two people are too young. They have reached the limit of destruction when they are less than 20 years old. Just thinking about it makes Weiss a little scared. He and his sister are known as the geniuses of the angel race in the past few million years, but it took them nearly 100,000 years to break through to the true god level. Moreover, these scions seem to be getting stronger recently. First, there were Qi Tian and Bardock of the Demonic Empire, and the legendary Sun Tian behind the Demonic Empire, and now there are Caulifla and Kale in the 6th universe. Not only that, he personally trained Son Goku and Vegeta, and it can be said that he watched these two people grow. It took only 1 year, from the late stage of transformation to the peak of normal destruction to the limit of transformation destruction. Especially after the incident on Earth half a year ago, Goku and Vegeta gradually slipped out of his control, which made Whis start to hate Frieza a little. If it weren't for Frieza and the Earth hadn't been destroyed, the innocent Son Goku would have been a good weapon, but now Son Goku's personality has changed drastically. Thinking of this, Whis secretly sent a message to Beerus, "Beerus, after the game is over, find a way to get rid of these scions." Beerus was watching the duel between Son Goku and Kale, but suddenly he received a message from Whis. "What? Aren't you optimistic about Son Goku and Vegeta?" Whis' voice said in Beerus' mind, "No, they are improving too fast, and are somewhat out of my control." Beerus looked at Bardos, Sun Tian, meaning, "What if your sister stops you?" "Don't worry, my sister won't stand up for two scions in front of the tribe." Beerus was shocked, thinking that Whis was really hateful. He had secretly asked him to instruct Frieza to destroy the insignificant planet Vegeta, and now he wanted him to destroy the rest of the scions. But Beerus knew that Kampa had already turned into Bardos, but he didn't know whether he would stop him in a while. So Beerus telepathically communicated Whis' plan to Kampa, but Kampa acted as if nothing had happened. Whis seemed to be doing Bardos's work, and the two didn't know how the discussion went. Unfortunately, Whis would never have thought that the mind of another scion now resides in Bardos' body. On the ring, the battle continued. The violent Kaier seemed to have endless physical strength and completely suppressed Sun Wukong. If Sun Wukong had not been fighting since he was a child and had extremely rich combat experience, he would probably have been defeated long ago. When facing Caulifla earlier, although Sun Wukong seemed relaxed, he actually consumed a lot of physical strength. Now facing Kale, who is stronger than Caulifla, he naturally fell into a disadvantage. Sun Wukong. You are no good. You are far inferior to our master. Kaier's frantic attack and inexhaustible power quickly knocked Sun Wukong out of the ring. I knew Kakarot couldn't be a match for the ancient Super Saiyan. He's too violent, and it seems like there's no limit to his power. Vegeta was in the audience with an expression that said, as expected, but his scalp went numb when he thought that he would also face Kale's attack next. At this time, the defeated Son Goku had returned to the audience. "Vegeta, be careful, that little devil is too strong." Vegeta glanced at Son Goku and said, "You don't have to tell me, that's an ancient Super Saiyan, the legendary Super Saiyan, only one is born every 1,000 years. By the way, Kakarot, didn't you feel the blood suppression in the ring?" Sun Wukong looked at Vegeta curiously. "No, what bloodline suppression?" Vegeta had an expression that said, as expected. Kakarot himself might not even know his own bloodline. Suddenly Vegeta thought of Sun Tian and Qi Tian who had gone to their time and space many years ago. He remembered that there was a power in Sun Tian that made him feel excited. It seems that Kakarot's bloodline has not been activated yet. Whis knew that it was impossible for Son Goku to withstand Kale's attack, especially after the previous battle with Super Saiyan 4 Caulifla, which consumed a lot of physical strength. It was only a matter of time before he was defeated. However, it was not bad that he could hold out for nearly 20 minutes in such a crazy attack. Vegeta was still in deep thought when Beerus' voice suddenly came. "Vegeta, you go next round. Remember to consume the opponent's energy as much as possible." In Beerus' opinion, Vegeta and Son Goku are not much different. Although Kale on the ring has consumed a lot of physical strength in the previous battle, Beerus can feel that the opponent's physique is too special. He is completely a fighting machine. With Vegeta's strength, he may not be the opponent's opponent. Unfortunately, these words fell into Vegeta's ears, making Vegeta feel very uncomfortable. You know, Vegeta is famous for his arrogance, and from what Beerus said, Vegeta could never be his opponent. Humph. I just don't believe it. So what if I was a super race in ancient times? I am not necessarily worse than the other party now. Vegeta's pride does not allow him to be looked down upon. Although Kale's bloodline has a certain suppression on him, he himself is a person who constantly breaks through his limits, and now his normal combat power is close to 150 billion. On the ring, Vegeta felt the suppression brought by Kai's royal blood. Although he was very proud, he also knew that if he fought in a normal way, there was no chance of winning. I didn't expect to meet the legendary Super Saiyan. Let me, Prince Vegeta, see how strong you are. On the ring, Vegeta directly activated his transformation, a transformation similar to Sun Wukong's Super God state appeared, with a deep blue aura. Vegeta's aura instantly broke through the limit, and his combat power soared to the limit of destruction. Another transformation. Kaier could feel that the suppression he had previously exerted on the opponent seemed to have been weakened. Feeling the completely different transformation aura from Vegeta and Son Goku, he also became serious. I am the Prince of the Saiyans. Even if you are an ancient Super Saiyan, I will defeat you. With a roar, Vegeta took the lead in launching an attack and instantly appeared in front of Kale. Bang! Kale easily blocked Vegeta's punch, grabbed Vegeta with one hand, spun him around, and slammed him to the ground. The poor arena had just been repaired when it was once again smashed into cracks by the violent force. Vegeta was stunned. Although he knew that the opponent was strong, he didn't expect him to be so strong. Although he didn't attack with all his strength just now, he at least used nearly 50% of his strength, but he was easily caught by the opponent. Damn it! Vegeta suddenly exploded, instantly breaking free from Kale's control and suddenly appearing several hundred meters away. There was an indescribable solemnity on his face. Only after the fight did he realize how powerful the ancient super race was. At that moment just now, he was actually completely at a disadvantage. Don't let the other party get close to you. The closer you are, the stronger the blood pressure will be. In that case, use Qigong bullets to attack from a distance. Vegeta formulated a strategy and quickly adjusted his condition. Why, you won't attack me? In that case, I will attack you. Seeing that Vegeta had stopped and had no intention of continuing his close combat, Kale simply swung his fist and rushed towards Vegeta. Compared to the Qigong bullets, Kaier prefers the feeling of punching flesh after his transformation. A distance of several hundred meters is just a breath for them. Vegeta didn't even have time to use the Qigong bullet before Kale got close to him. A tremendous force came from Kale's fist. Vegeta quickly defended himself, but the powerful force directly knocked him away. What a powerful force! Is this the ancient Super Saiyan? The two quickly attacked each other in front of the ring, but Vegeta was mostly on the defense. Ha ha ha, not bad, you can actually hold out against my fists for this long. Kale laughed as he attacked. It felt so good to punch Vegeta like this. In the audience, Caulifla mourned for Vegeta. No one knew Kale's terror better than him. Still remember the first time Kale turned into a Super Saiyan, she was completely unable to control that powerful force and went crazy. She was almost crippled by the mad Kale that time. If his cheat master had not arrived in time, he would have been in great danger. However, with the help of his cheat master, Kaier gradually mastered the power. However, even so, Kaier was like a different person after the transformation. From a shy little girl, she turned into a violent female tyrant. Every time the two fought, even Caulifla, the fearless bad girl, felt scared. But it was also because of this that Caulifla's skills improved so rapidly, and now Kale's suppression from her bloodline has no effect on her at all. On the ring, Vegeta was also undergoing a transformation. At the beginning, under the suppression of Kale's bloodline, he could only exert about 80% of his strength, but with continuous fighting, Vegeta's strength was constantly improving. Bang! The two of them fought again, and surprisingly, they were evenly matched. Vegeta was panting heavily. After nearly 20 minutes of fighting, Vegeta's physical strength was consumed very quickly, but at the same time, he also gained a lot. Not bad, come again. Kale fought 2 games in a row. Even though he had a super physique, his physical strength was still a little bit behind. However, compared to Vegeta, it was much better. Moreover, he also learned a lot of fighting skills in the battle with Vegeta. Before that, he relied on his powerful strength to crush everyone else. Vegeta could clearly feel the changes in Kale. At the beginning, he couldn't fully exert his power due to blood suppression, but as the battle went on, he could clearly feel that the suppression was gradually lost. With his rich combat experience, he even gained the upper hand at one point. However, the opponent also changed his fighting style, from crushing him with force to slowly learning his fighting skills, and soon returned to the starting point. The two men fought again, and the sounds of explosions and collisions continued to be heard on the ring. However, as the battle continued, Vegeta's deep blue transformation consumed too much physical strength, and his breath gradually weakened. Although Kale also consumed a lot of physical strength, he had a super physique after all, and his recovery ability was much stronger than Vegeta's. "Uncle, you're almost dying. You'd better go back to the audience." Kaya rose again, and violent power burst out. "Little girl. Come on, the last blow." Vegeta also forcefully exploded his energy while performing a powerful special move. Ultimate Flash. Kale laughed maniacally as a super energy shot towards Vegeta. The two energies collided quickly, and the entire ring was blown up by the two colliding energies. As Kaya continued to output, Vegeta obviously felt exhausted. This ability, damn, has absolutely no limit. Soon Vegeta was suppressed, and the energy of the Unity pushed him completely out of the ring area. Although he was unwilling, Vegeta had to admit that he was no match for the ancient Super Saiyan who seemed to be cheating. However, this battle also improved Vegeta's own bloodline. He believed that he would be able to make further progress in the near future. Standing up with difficulty, Vegeta looked at Kale who was standing in the distance and also gasping for air, and felt a little more balanced. Sun Wukong flew into the ring and helped Vegeta up. "Vegeta, are you okay?" After the battle, Vegeta had difficulty standing, but when he heard Sun Wukong's question, Kakarot, "When will your bloodline awaken? If it doesn't awaken, I will throw you away." Sun Wukong asked, "What bloodline?" Vegeta replied, "You don't really think you're a low-level warrior, do you? The blood of the ancient Super Saiyans couldn't suppress you, but I was directly suppressed by 2 levels of combat power at the beginning." Son Goku replied, "Is my Saiyan blood strong?" Vegeta was speechless, but still ended the conversation. Although Sun Wukong had changed a lot after what happened half a year ago, his innocent appearance still made him very angry sometimes. With Kale's winning streak, there is only one player left in Universe 7. When Bai Gao came on the court, although he did not release any energy, Kyer clearly felt that the opponent was far superior to the others, and he was like facing a formidable enemy. One has the power to destroy the limit only by transforming, while the other is a special life form that is close to the power of a god of destruction. Not long into the fight, Kyer was knocked out of the ring. Xianpa was shocked. "What? So strong? Hit, are you sure?" Hit also took it seriously. Although Kyer had just fought 2 battles in a row, Wu Ning defeated Kyer in less than 20 rounds. The strength of Wu Ning's opponent was definitely at the level of extreme destruction. Although he himself was also a strong man at the level of extreme destruction, he was not sure that he could defeat the opponent. "Master Xiangpa, the opponent is very strong, far superior to the others. I can only do my best." Xiangpa also knew that what Hit said was true. "Okay. Fight as hard as you can. I never thought that the strongest in the 7th universe weren't those 2 Saiyans." Before, Xiangpa always thought that Goku and Vegeta should be the strongest among the 5, but he didn't expect that when Bai Gao came on the court, he realized that he had completely misjudged them. Hit jumped onto the ring with his hands in his pockets. "You are strong." As an evolved form of intelligent life, Bigo's sense of energy is far beyond that of ordinary people. After Hit entered the scene, he had already judged that this was definitely a strong opponent. "You are not weak either. I didn't expect that in addition to those 2 Saiyans, there is actually a strong person like you in the 7th universe." Hit usually speaks very little, but when facing a peer like Bai Gao, he also said a few more words. Bigo thought about the former demonic empire and shook his head. "No, in our 7th universe, besides Weiss, there are at least 5 people stronger than me, but they are all gone now." Hit probably knew who was the person who could make Bai Gao admit that he was inferior to him. In the past few years following Sun Tian, he had heard Sun Tian mention, "Are you from the 7th universe, the Milky Way?" Big Gao replied, "Let's stop talking nonsense and fight. Although we don't want to admit it, we are just tools of the Angel of Destruction." Hit thought to himself, indeed, if he had not met Lord Sun Tian, he might just be a tool of God now, but now it is different. The two saluted each other and began to increase their aura. "Are you ready?" Suddenly, the two disappeared from the ring, and when they reappeared, they were already fighting each other. Bang! Bigo was actually hit directly by Hit and fell from the air onto the ring. What just happened? Bai Gao clearly remembered that the two should have fought directly, so how come he was hit suddenly? Hit was equally shocked. Although he used the flash time power to directly jump through time to attack, the punch he just threw was actually directly rebounded. If he hadn't reacted in time, the opponent might not have been injured, but he himself. Awesome, such a strong defense. Big Gao asked, you can actually jump through time to attack. As a special life form, Bigo has very good emotional control. He is not shocked by the opponent's temporary victory and quickly analyzes Hit's attack. The next moment, Bigo teleported and appeared behind Hit. What? So fast. Hit had no time to react and was knocked out by a punch, and a human-shaped pit appeared on the ring. Bigao immediately seized the opportunity and launched continuous attacks with Qigong bombs. Soon the human-shaped pit was blown up and thick smoke rose up. However, Bigo knew that this attack was not enough to defeat Hit. When the smoke cleared, he saw that Hit was unharmed, but he had hidden in a special space, as if isolated from reality. It turns out that when Hit was knocked into the ground, he had already used the flash space to hide himself in different time dimensions. Although the ring was attacked by Bai Gao, he was not affected at all. The two stood up again, and Hit said, it's my turn to attack next. Time jump. Hit seemed to have disappeared. Before Bigo could react, he suddenly appeared in front of him and attacked with countless punches. Both of them were powerful men with the ability to destroy to the limit, but apart from their magical powers, they did not use the laws of attack. They fought back and forth, but gradually Hit was suppressed. In comparison, Bai Gao's physical strength is almost unlimited, and although Hit is very strong, the high-intensity combat consumes too much of his physical strength. Big Oxing's body has been transformed by the powerful fusion of two mirrored time and space, and at the same time, it has borrowed the artificial human technology of number 17 and 18 who came from Earth not long ago. It has been further strengthened with the help of number 21. Although he does not have unlimited physical strength like number 17 and 18, he is far beyond Hit's reach. Every time Hit faces Bai Gao's attack, he has to hide in a different time dimension, but Bai Gao's body can easily withstand Hit's attack. No, if we continue like this, we will definitely lose. Hit knew that if he continued like this, he would have no chance of winning. Looking at Bai Gao again, he could actually completely ignore his attacks. He was so strong that it was really scary. Even Xiangpa might not be his opponent. In the audience, Xiangpa looked at the situation below and said, Beerus, who is that guy? His strength is not inferior to that of the god of destruction, right? Beerus replied, Humph, it is very strong. I didn't expect that there are such strong beings in the lower world. And Weiss had never thought that there was a strong man who could destroy the limit in the sixth universe. Sister, are you planning to train him to be the next god of destruction? Bardas, Sun Tian, also discovered that it had only been more than a year, and he had never expected that Bigo had become so strong. Hearing Weiss's question, there are too few strong people in the sixth universe, and Lord Xiangpa is not very responsible. We must be prepared in advance. On the ring, Hit was completely at a disadvantage, and was finally knocked out of the ring unwillingly. The competition between the two universes ended with the victory of the seventh universe. Beerus said excitedly, Compa, our universe 7 is still more powerful. The super wishing ball is mine now. Although Beerus already knew what Compa and the others were planning, he still couldn't believe it when he thought that his life would no longer be controlled by the King Kai. Whis looked at Beerus, Lord Beerus, there are only 6 wishing balls left. They didn't pay attention to this problem when they came before, but now they looked and found that there was one missing. Bardas, Sun Tian, said at this time, the last Dragon Ball is in a dangerous place. Even I only know the location of the Dragon Ball, but I can't bring it out. Weiss was shocked. What? With your current state of being a late true god, is there anything that can stop you? But think about it, it seems that even they don't know all the things in the universe, especially the 6th and 7th universes, how many secrets are hidden. It is mentioned in the records of the angels that among the 7 ancient tribes, many of their mortal enemies, the Scions and Namekians, exist in the 6th and 7th universes. In addition, the Ice Clan, as the former controller of the 6th and 7th universes, is unknown whether it has any backup plans. Bardas, Sun Tian, replied, once in a space in the 6th universe, my condensed clone was destroyed by a strong man from the Frozen Clan. And the place I went to this time gave me a similar feeling to the last time. Weiss was shocked. What? The clone you condensed can at least destroy the limit, right? Can the Frozen clan have this ability? Bardas, Sun Tian, replied, there is a 6th level frozen demon in that space, and it has been sleeping since ancient times. A 6th level frozen demon. What happened in the end? If it really has been sleeping since ancient times, then that clone is really not good enough. Bardas, Sun Tian, replied, very strong. Using forbidden moves can unleash the power of a true god. However, I completely destroyed them a year ago. There are hundreds of thousands of frozen demons in the entire frozen world. Although there are only a few thousand destruction level ones, they are really strong. And this time, I can feel that the location of the last Dragon Ball has at least a true god level late stage strongman living in it, so I need to rely on your power. After Bardas, Sun Tian, and Whis made their decision, they took the strong men from the 2 universes and went there together. At this time, Whis no longer mentioned killing Sun Wukong and the other 4 scions. In Whis's view, since the secret realm existed, Sun Wukong and the others had the abilities to help them deal with some strong men below the true god level. Moreover, in Whis's opinion, although Kampa and Beerus seemed to be acting out of anger, they actually wanted to gather the strong men from the 2 universes to carry out the clearing of this secret realm. After all, if there really were true god-level strong men, Kampa alone would not be able to complete the task. Soon, under the leadership of Bados, Sun Tian, a group of 14 people arrived at their destination after nearly 3 days. Following the direction of Bados, Sun Tian's finger, a wonder appeared in everyone's sight. In the void of space, there was a black hole with a diameter of tens of thousands of meters, which kept swallowing up the surrounding energy. The aura emitted from the black hole was so strong that even the 2 gods of destruction, Pa and Beerus, felt frightened, and Sun Wukong, Vegeta and others were completely shocked. Bardas, Sun Tian, said, the last Super Dragon Ball is behind the black hole. Whis extended his divine sense into the black hole, and suddenly, a breath that was several times stronger than his own appeared in his perception, but he could not find out where exactly it was. At the same time, thousands of destructive-level energy reactions and tens of thousands of Emperor-level energy reactions appeared in Whis's perception, and one of the reactions had actually reached the limit of destructive power. Hiss. Whis took a deep breath. You know, after so many years in the 7th universe, only one person who reached the destruction limit appeared in the lower realm. Even Goku and Vegeta could only reach the destruction limit by transforming. However, compared with the real destruction limit masters, they were far behind. Whis glanced at Bardas, Sun Tian, and saw the solemnity in his eyes. Should we inform our father? If a late true god alarms our father, we will not be able to hold our heads up high when we return to the angel clan. Don't think that the angels are all harmonious. Although the lineage of the great priest is powerful, there are also several other true god-level strongmen who are equally strong. It's just that the division of labor is different. The great priest is responsible for the affairs of the Omni King and the 12 universes, while the other angels at the true god level are either stationed in the god and demon battlefield or responsible for the management of the true god realm. Moreover, the 12 universes are lucrative jobs, which are easy and can get the luck bonus of the 12 universes, making cultivation easier. Otherwise, why did the great priest let his pair of children become the guardian angels of the 6th and 7th universes respectively? You must know that when the 2 of them first entered the 6th and 7th universes, although they were a little famous, they were only in the early stage of true god. In just a few million years, they cultivated from the early stage of true god to the late stage of true god. It is conceivable. Even though Sun Tian, Chi Tian and the others reached the true god level so quickly, it was entirely because they were the race that was blessed by the fortune of this era, and various encounters had contributed to their current strength. Whis thought about it and it seemed to be true. The high priest was worried about the matter of the king of all some time ago. If a secret realm where a powerful late-stage true god was located invited the high priest out, wouldn't it make the 2 of them seem useless? At this moment, a cold evil aura came from behind the black hole. Who dares to spy on the ancestral land of my frozen clan? As this evil aura approached, everyone except Whis and Bardas, Sun Tian, was overwhelmed and couldn't breathe. The frozen clan, this aura cannot be wrong. Whis immediately activated the Angel's combat mode, a pair of golden wings spread out, and his entire body suddenly soared to nearly 3 meters in height. What, Mr. Whis can transform, too? Sun Wukong, Vegeta and others were shocked, this was something they had never known before. Even Xiang Pa and Beerus looked at each other, and they saw each other's surprise. Obviously, even the 2 gods of destruction did not expect that angels actually had such a form. Compared to the voice of the pseudo-girl, Whis's voice also changed. A deafening voice came out of Whis's mouth, the frozen clan. They shouldn't exist in this world. With a wave of his arm, a giant energy sword nearly 1,000 meters long appeared. Angel Judgment. The giant energy sword pierced directly into the entrance of the secret realm, creating a crack several hundred meters wide in the black hole. Go in. Whis led everyone in the 7th universe and flew directly to the black hole, and quickly rushed in through the crack. Although the aura just now was so strong that it was suffocating, with Whis in front to hold it, Beerus and the others felt a lot more relaxed. Bardas, Sun Tian, smiled gently, a barely noticeable smile appeared, and then he followed in with everyone from the 6th universe. But no one noticed that shortly after the 14 people from the 2 universes entered, a strange child who looked like a child came to where they were before. If the High Priest were here, he would know that this is the Omni King he has been looking for. Ever since the Omni King disappeared a few years ago, the High Priest has not been able to be contacted. No one expected that he would appear in the place where Sun Tian had planned. No one knew whether it was a coincidence or the Omni King had discovered something. Why does that Bardas just now seem to have a problem? The king of all thought about it and wondered how these 2 people could be the children of the High Priest under his command, so he followed them to see what was going on. At this time, the entrance to Sun Tian's inner universe had already been closed. Logically, the Omni King could not have entered. However, when the Omni King approached, he waved his hand, and a new passage appeared where the black hole had disappeared before. Then the Omni King flew directly in. In the inner universe, Sun Tian felt as if something had broken into his inner universe, but when he looked carefully, he found nothing. Forget it, let's go and welcome my guests first. As soon as Weiss and others entered Sun Tian's inner universe, they found that the black hole behind them had disappeared, and what appeared in front of them was a starry sky. Countless planets and stars formed one star field after another. What's going on? My spiritual power has been suppressed by at least 50%. Weiss was shocked, but the entrance behind him was completely closed, so he could only take one step at a time. At this moment, a voice came from all directions. Welcome everyone to my universe. The sudden voice made Weiss and others stop in their tracks. At the same time, a force far beyond that of a late true god came. Even Weiss, a powerful late true god, suddenly realized how insignificant he was. This kind of feeling was something that Weiss had only experienced with the High Priest. Being in this aura, Weiss felt like a small boat in the endless ocean, and could be buried in the sea at any time. True God Limit, who are you? In an instant, Weiss changed into angel form and looked into the distance with a serious face. Even in angel form, Weiss did not think he could last a round against the opponent. In the universe within his body, Sun Tian can unleash his power to the maximum. If he were in the outside world, he would only be at the peak of a true god. Even with the use of cosmic projection, he could only be infinitely close to the limit of a true god. But now he is in his own universe, and everything will act according to his will. He can fully exert the power of an ordinary true god. The moment Whis and the others stepped into his inner universe, their fate was sealed. At this moment, Sun Tian was still far away in the origin continent of the universe within his body, and he didn't know how far he was from Weiss and the others, but he could easily transmit his voice and power over. Suddenly, a giant hand that covered the sky appeared above Weiss and others, and slowly grabbed everyone. Except for Weiss and Bardas, Sun Tian, everyone else was already unable to move and could only watch the giant hand grab them. No. Sister, let's fight. However, what answered him was a sneer. A voice that was obviously not from Bardas came from Bardas' body, too naive. Now that you have come to my universe, your fate is already determined. What? Who are you? Whis used all his strength to try to attack the giant hand, but it was all in vain. Even Bardas, Sun Tian, did not stop him. In Sun Tian's universe, everything was based on Sun Tian's will. A mere late-stage true god did not have the slightest power to resist. The power of heaven and earth, the will of the universe, Weiss and others could only watch themselves being imprisoned, and then they were dragged into the origin continent where Sun Tian was along with the 6 super DragonBallZ that came in. The origin continent was named Origin by Sun Tian because it was the first piece of heaven and earth that appeared in the universe within his body. With the continuous evolution of the universe within his body and Sun Tian's deliberate efforts, the spatial stability of the origin continent has long surpassed the divine space of the 12 universes in the outside world. Of course, if Sun Tian's internal universe is not yet perfect, the strongest can only trap the peak of the true god. Once he encounters an extremely powerful true god, the opponent can directly break the barrier of his inner universe and leave his universe. Soon, Weiss and others were captured and brought to the origin continent, and a figure appeared in front of everyone. When he saw the figure's face clearly, Weiss couldn't believe it, Sun Wukong. How is that possible? The reactions of the others were different. Xiangpa and others slowly walked behind Sun Tian. And a divine thought in Bardas' body left, and he suddenly opened his eyes. Asshole, what did you do with my body again? Although Bardas has regained consciousness, all his power has long been sealed, and he can only look at Sun Tian angrily. Weiss then questioned, who are you? Why do you look so similar to Sun Wukong? Bardas then realized that Weiss was also here. Weiss, why are you here too? Were you also captured? Isn't it a capture? Now Weiss has no resistance at all. However, the ones who are more frightened than Weiss are Goku, Vegeta, and Higurashi. Bigao walked up to Sun Tian respectfully, Sir. Sun Tian glanced at Bigao and said, not bad, it looks like you have made a lot of progress in the past year. And Son Goku and Vegeta asked, you are Sun Tian? Sun Tian smiled and said, long time no see, Son Goku, Vegeta. As for Regis and Frol, they are still confused. Although Beerus had heard from Xiangpa a long time ago that there was a great god at the peak of the true god behind him, he had never expected that this great god was so strong that Whis couldn't even make a bubble in his hands. Weiss still didn't understand that this was a trap set by the man in front of him. Why, with your true god-level strength, did you set up a trap to lure us in here? Sun Tian looked at Whis, who was in the true form of an angel, in front of him. In his opinion, Whis was now infinitely close to the peak of a true god. However, he is now in his inner universe. Even if a peak true god comes, it will be of no use, unless the extremely powerful true god descends. As for those above the true god, Sun Tian doesn't think he can easily meet one. Sun Tian showed a smile of control on his face. Mr. Weiss, do you still remember the demonic empire? A bad memory emerged from Weiss's mind. You are the true god behind the demonic martial empire, how is it possible? Sun Tian replied, nothing is impossible, but Mr. Weiss has improved a lot in the past few years. Indeed, after the battle with Chi Tian and Bardock, Weiss also started his own practice. In just a few years, he has gone from entering the late stage of true god to now almost approaching the peak of true god. In the past years, their angel clan had almost no pressure and their strength progressed slowly, but ever since the incident with the demonic empire, Weiss's practice has never fallen behind. So what? I'm still your prisoner now. After learning that Sun Tian was the legendary true god of the demonic martial empire, Weiss was basically in despair. You know, he had attacked the demonic martial empire more than once, and he didn't want to believe that Sun Tian didn't know what happened that year. Sun Tian stepped forward and was about to seal Weiss using the same method he used to seal Bardas, but suddenly, a powerful force came from a distance. Who? A child's voice came, it's not good for you to do this, will the high priest be angry? Then a figure appeared in front of Weiss and Bardas, and with a wave of his hand, the seal on Bardas was broken. Sun Tian's face was solemn. So that's it. He had felt that something had broken into his universe before, but he didn't expect it to be the Omni King. But Weiss and Bardas were different. Lord Omni King, long time no see. As for Xiangpa and Beerus, they were like mice seeing a cat. Even though Xiangpa had already submitted to Sun Tian, they were still startled by the sudden appearance of the Omni King. They flew up and knelt on the ground. Omni King, Lord Omni King. The others looked curiously at the little child who suddenly appeared, and looked at the humble appearance of the two gods of destruction in disbelief. After years of backlog, Xiangpa and Beerus are well aware of the horror of the Omni King, and now they only hope that he will not bring disaster to them. As for Xiangpa, who had previously surrendered to Sun Tian, he instantly drew a line between himself and Sun Tian in his heart. In their opinion, now that the Omni King has appeared, Sun Tian has basically been sentenced to death. Weiss and the others felt that there was light at the end of the tunnel. They didn't expect that the Omni King would appear at this time, which meant that Sun Tian's situation was hopeless. Originally, according to his plan, he controlled the angels of the 6th and 7th universes and developed slowly, so he had been very cautious. Even if he was in the outside world, he was confident that he could defeat and capture Weiss, but in order not to attract the attention of the High Priest, he set up this trap. He did not expect that his plan would fail because of the appearance of the Omni King. But he is not without the ability to fight now. After all, he is now in his inner universe. Even the Omni King may not be able to kill him. The appearance of the Omni King, the performance of Weiss and Bardas, and the servility of Kampa and Beerus, made Sun Wukong and Vegeta at a loss. In their eyes, the Omni King did not seem to be scary at all. But this cannot be blamed on them. After all, their levels are too different. The other two people from the 7th universe had already fainted from happiness under Sun Tian's control before. Sun Tian's expression was solemn, but he was now in his universe, and in the 12 universes and the reincarnation world of true demons and true gods, the existence of anything above the true gods was not allowed. Although the ancient angel king had long transcended and became an existence above the true god, existence above the true god is not allowed to appear in the 12 universes and the world of true gods and true demons. Although the Omni King is an incarnation of the ancient angel king, he is at most infinitely close to being above the true god. The Omni King looked at the situation in front of him in a daze. Although he suffered backlash for destroying the 13th to 18th universes in ancient times and his mental state was now that of a child, it did not mean that he was completely unaware of the current situation. The King of All looked at Sun Tian and knew that all this was done by the man in front of him. He suddenly said, "You actually imprisoned angels. You are a bad guy. Get lost." As the Omni King's voice fell, Sun Tian clearly felt a special law descending upon him, wanting to completely eliminate him from this world. However, in Sun Tian's inner universe, with the blessing of the will of the universe, this law cannot affect Sun Tian. Sun Tian mobilized the laws of his universe to form a protective layer around him. The Omni King's law of clearance had no effect on Sun Tian, and he was soon able to withstand it and finally disappeared without a trace. The King of All looked at Sun Tian in a daze. Why doesn't it work? The Omni King's law of clearing is very powerful, but it is mainly aimed at those below the limit of true God. Once one becomes a true god, he has begun to create his own laws and will not be afraid of the Omni King's ability, not to mention that he is still in Sun Tian's inner universe. Weiss and Bardas thought it was normal. After all, the other party was also a powerful person with the limit of true god. If he was eliminated, that would be fine. However, the two did not know that Sun Tian could only exert the power of the limit of true god in his own universe and with the blessing of the laws of the universe. However, compared to Weiss and the other two, Kampa and Beerus are different. They can actually withstand the power of the Omni King. In their impression, the power of the Omni King has never been discounted. As long as the Omni King is willing, he can make the opponent disappear completely without any action. It is unbelievable that Sun Tian can actually survive under the power of the Omni King. Sun Tian was also shocked. Although he had just used the laws of his own universe to resist the power of the Omni King, his own universe had not yet been fully formed, and the laws he could mobilize were limited. In the confrontation just now, countless star fields have been completely destroyed. If it happens a few more times, Sun Tian can't guarantee that he can survive intact. But Sun Tian didn't dare to show it. This time, for the sake of the King of All, you can go. It's not that Sun Tian follows his heart, but he really can't do it. However, the King of All seems to ignore Sun Tian's feelings and is still struggling with why his ability is useless. You seem very strong. You were not eliminated by me. The Omni King knew that his ability was not 100% successful, but he never imagined that there was someone in the 12 universes of the lower world who could counter his abilities. Weiss explained, "Lord Omni King, the other party is a true god." The Omni King glanced at Weiss and said, "True god limit, no wonder. But it seems that even the true god is not taken seriously by the King of All." The King of All looked at Sun Tian, "You are not bad, but I have decided to eliminate you." Suddenly, the king raised one hand to the sky, and a law even stronger than before gathered in his hand. Disappear. Sun Tian had been paying attention to the Omni King's actions, and when the Omni King was about to make a move, he immediately mobilized all the laws of the universe in his body to completely protect himself. Soon the power of the Omni King fell upon Sun Tian, and the laws of the entire universe were quickly dissolved. Sun Tian was shocked. Too strong. It turned out that he was just casually mobilizing it before, but now with full strength, Sun Tian found that he was just like a duckweed in the ocean, which could be thrown into the abyss at any time. The universe inside Sun Tian's body, when Sun Tian was fighting against the Omni King, the star fields that had already evolved kept exploding, and lightning and thunder flashed in the void of the universe, creating a doomsday scene. The origin continent, where Chi-Chi practices, Tianxiu follows behind, looking into the distance worriedly, wondering who Sun Tian has met that has caused the entire origin continent to be shaken. In a corner of the origin continent, where the original Tianxiu realm is located, everyone felt the vibration of the universe, and they looked up at the doomsday scene in the sky anxiously. As the master of the universe, Sun Tian naturally saw the changes in the universe. In just a few minutes, the countless star fields had returned to nothingness. Only the star fields close to the origin continent had not been destroyed. But now Sun Tian couldn't care less about so many things. He mobilized the laws of the universe with all his strength to fight back. After about half an hour, the power of the Omni King was finally blocked. However, at this time, Sun Tian's aura had become much weaker. His strength, which had originally been blessed by the universe and had reached the limit of a true god, had now regressed to the peak of a true god again. Sun Tianxin thought, so powerful. This is just an incarnation of the archaic angel king. I wonder how powerful the archaic angel king who is above the true god is. The king of all also looked incredulous. If he had just tried it casually before, he had mobilized nearly 30% of the power of the laws just now. He did not expect that the person in front of him could actually withstand it. Whis and Bardos also found it unbelievable, especially Bardos. He had watched Sun Tian grow step by step, and in just a few years, he was already able to compete with the Omni King. Hey, you can still hold on. The Omni King has a cute expression, but in Sun Tian's eyes he looks like a devil. Thinking of what the Super Dragon once said, never underestimate the Omni King. At this moment, Sun Tian Kai truly understood why the Super Dragon had given him so many instructions at that time. No, if you hit me again, my universe might be destroyed. Suddenly, Sun Tian looked at the 6 Dragon Balls floating in the distance. With a thought, the last Super Dragon Ball moved from the depths. Weiss and others didn't know what Sun Tian wanted to do, but they had a bad feeling. When the 7 Super Dragon Balls gathered together, Sun Tian suddenly opened the entire inner universe and used all his strength to force the Omni King, Whis and others out. At the same time, Sun Tian also stepped out of the universe in his body with 7 Super Dragon Balls and appeared in the void space outside. Then he chanted the summoning spell, and as the spell was chanted, the 7 Dragon Balls began to arrange themselves, and soon a Super Dragon spanning countless star fields appeared before everyone's eyes. After all, the Omni King only has the mind of a child. When he saw such a scene, he had already been attracted by it. In his opinion, Sun Tian was far less attractive than the Super Dragon in front of him. In the previous confrontation with the Omni King, Sun Tian's inner universe destroyed countless star regions, and his own strength dropped to the freezing point. In addition, he had previously forcibly sent the Omni King and others out of his inner universe, which had already caused him to be severely injured. Although he could still exert the strength of an early true god, he no longer had the ability to fight against Whis and others. However, with the appearance of the Super Shenlong, the whole situation became unpredictable. The Omni King also knew about the Super Dragon, but even he did not act rashly when facing it. Instead, he was very curious about what the person opposite him, who had survived his clearing ability twice in a row, wanted to do. With the appearance of the Super Dragon, the scene suddenly became quiet. According to the previous agreement, the Super Dragon Balls were used this time to remove the life bond between Beerus and King Kai. However, due to the appearance of the Omni King before, Sun Tian saw everything that Kampa and Beerus did. Not to mention that the two of them did not become true gods, they were just at the limit of destruction. Even if they became true gods, they probably would not play any role in future competitions. At least in Sun Tian's opinion, he has completely given up on the god of destroyer of Universe 12. On the other side, after Weiss discovered that Sun Tian was seriously injured, he immediately launched an attack on Sun Tian. After Sun Tian left the inner universe and lost the support of the laws of the universe, coupled with his previous confrontation with the Omni King, he had consumed a lot of energy. Now he can barely exert the combat power of an early true god. Weiss suddenly appeared in front of Sun Tian and punched him in the abdomen. Sun Tian was knocked away and was severely injured again, falling into a coma. Just as Weiss was about to launch another attack, his body was suddenly restrained and a heart-pounding voice was heard. "How dare you attack me, king of all? The angels are getting more and more alive now." Whis had not expected that the Super Dragon would personally take action to restrain his behavior, but even Whis did not dare to be disrespectful in front of the Super Dragon. The Omni King was also somewhat dissatisfied with Whis's behavior. You know, although the dragon in front of him was just a projection of the law, the one behind it was the ancient dragon god Salama. It was indeed unreasonable for Whis to act so rashly. "Weiss, back off." Weiss was helpless. When the king of all spoke, even his father had to obey, not to mention him, an angel in the late stage of true god. At this time, the super dragon that spanned dozens of star fields suddenly began to change. Its entire body began to shrink, and finally shrank to several thousand meters before stopping. But at this moment, neither the Omni King nor Whis and the others spoke anymore, especially the Omni King, who no longer had that silly look on his face, but looked as if he was facing a formidable enemy. "Omni King, long time no see." The Omni King replied, "Salamar. Do you want to interfere in this matter?" The dragon replied, "I can take care of other things, but this person in front of me is my disciple, so I hope the king of all will give him some convenience." Quan Wang said, what if I say no? Shenlong replied, then we have no choice but to fight. Although you have temporarily recovered from the backlash, you probably haven't recovered to your peak yet. The Omni King replied, you are just a shadow of the law now. Do you think you can fight against me now? That's hard to say, Omni King, let's both take a step back. I owe you angels a favor. Although the Omni King can regain his sanity briefly when encountering a strong enemy, if he wants to solve the backlash of the world's laws in the long run, he must restore the 6 universes that he destroyed with his own hands in ancient times. Even he himself has no way to deal with this matter, but that doesn't mean there is no way at all. With the help of the power of Dragon God Salama, it is indeed possible to achieve it. You know, Dragon God Salama was a very powerful existence even in ancient times. If it weren't for the fact that he appeared late and only showed up after the ancient Angel King broke through, it would be hard to say who would be able to transcend first at that time. Of course, these are just the thoughts of the Omni King. After all, when Salama appeared, the ancient war had basically ended. If Salama had not tried his best to protect the remaining Scions and Namekians at that time, I am afraid that these 2 tribes would no longer exist in the 12 universes. Moreover, when Salama appeared, he showed super strong combat power, which was infinitely close to the strength of a true god, which frightened the Omni King and the angels. Fortunately, Salama left 7 Super Dragon Balls in the 6th and 7th universes and disappeared. The angels knew the abilities of the Super Dragon Balls, but if they wanted to use them to restore the 6 disappeared universes, it would not be possible with the Super Shenlong alone. It would require Salama himself to do it. Over countless years, the angels have tried to use the Super Dragon Balls to restore the 6 universes that were destroyed by the Omni King, but they have never succeeded. The result was always that their wishes could not be fulfilled. It would require the Creator himself to take action to restore the 6 disappeared universes from the beginning of history. However, there has been no trace of Salama for hundreds of millions of years. Now, because of Sun Tian, the dragon god Salama has personally descended upon the Super Dragon. The Omni King fell into deep thought. Although he was not sure whether Salama could help him restore the 6 universes he had cleared, it was worth it if he could get a favor from Salama. Both of them are beings that are infinitely close to being true gods. If they really fight, it will probably directly affect the nearby 6th and 7th universes. After a long while, the King of All replied, okay, but your disciples are not allowed to stay in the 12 universes of the lower world anymore. They must leave. Otherwise, with his peak true god strength, none of the angels in our clan who are responsible for guarding the lower world can be his opponent. The voice of the dragon came, okay, as for when you need me, you can collect the 7 Super Dragon Balls, and I will show up then. At this moment, Sun Tian had been seriously injured and unconscious due to the destruction of the inner universe and Whis' sneak attack. He had no idea that he had been saved by the dragon as a favor. After Shenlong discussed with the King of All, he directly opened a space channel, sent Sun Tian into it, and disappeared. On the other hand, after seeing the dragon send Sun Tian away, the King of All stopped asking questions. As for where the dragon sent Sun Tian, he didn't care. King, if there is nothing else, I will leave first. Then Salama's consciousness left the Super Dragon, and the dragon quickly grew larger again, spanning dozens of star fields again. It then opened its mouth and sucked Weiss and others who were still in shock directly into its internal space. After Salama left, the king returned to his silly and cute look again. After a long time, Whis, Bardos, the 2 gods of destruction, as well as Son Goku, Vegeta, Regs, and Fleur finally arrived at the core of the Super Dragon. A shrunken golden dragon showed its head, tell me your wish, any wish will do. Whis and Bardos naturally had no wishes, and now without Sun Tian's suppression, Beerus naturally did not dare to propose to release his life bond with God Kai, and the scene suddenly fell into silence. Lord Beerus, if I remember correctly, it should be our Universe 7 that one, right? What wish do you want to make? There was a hint of coldness in his voice. Beerus didn't know that Whis was already somewhat dissatisfied with him. As for Xianpa, he has been in a daze ever since the Omni King showed up. On the one hand, he hated himself for not standing firmly on Sun Tian's side. If that were the case, Sun Tian would probably not have driven him out of the inner universe, and he would have been sent directly to the lower world by the dragon. But it's too late now. As for Sun Wukong and Vegeta, they really wanted Whis to help them resurrect their reincarnated relatives, but when they thought of the relationship between Whis and Sun Tian, they could only keep their mouths shut for the time being, for fear of bringing trouble to themselves. Of course, Weiss and Bardos also knew about the dragon god Salama. It was rumored that after the ancient war, the dragon god Salama suddenly appeared out of nowhere. According to the historical records of the Angel clan, after the ancient angel king broke through to the level of true god, he wiped out the ancient golden giant ape and the ancient Namekian king at that time in one fell swoop, and then directly shattered the reincarnation world at that time, killing the ancient death god. Then he turned to the true demon world, wanting to destroy it as well, but the incarnation of the ancient demon god self-destructed. The power of the self-destruction formed a terrifying passage, which caused the arrival of a void giant beast above the true god in the void outside the domain. The ancient angel king fought a great battle with this giant beast of the void, and both were ultimately defeated. They were each expelled from the several major universes of the time by the laws of the world. However, before falling asleep, the angel king created an incarnation, the Omni King, who sat in charge of the true god realm at that time. Due to the ancient war, the angels and the Kaioshin clan suffered heavy losses. In a rage, the Omni King directly used the laws he controlled at the time to eliminate and destroy the 12th to 18th universes managed by the ancient Scions, the successors of the ancient golden giant ape, and the ancient Namekians, the successors of the ancient Namekian king. However, the Omni King was also backlashed by the laws of the world and his sanity was greatly damaged, making his mind like that of a child. At that time, some remnants of the two tribes were still fighting in the 1st to 12th universes in the lower world. However, without the backup, they could not withstand the encirclement and suppression of the angel tribe and the king of the gods tribe. Just when the two races were about to be completely wiped out, the dragon god Sarama suddenly appeared, and shocked the angels and King Kais with his powerful strength. Finally, he sent the remaining Scions and Namekians to the 6th and 7th universes which the angels and King Kais had not yet touched. This gave the Scions and Namekians a brief period of rest, and he taught the Namekians the ability to make wishing balls. However, with the coming of the era of God's rule, the 6th and 7th ancient Scions and Namekians were naturally purged. However, whenever the gods wanted to exterminate the two races, there was always an unknown force to stop them, which allowed the two races to be passed down to this day, but they can no longer regain the glory of the ancient times. The dragon god Salama disappeared not long afterward, leaving behind only this set of 7 super Dragon Balls that could fulfill any wish. However, what surprised Whis was that the summoning spells and wishing language of this set of super Dragon Balls of the dragon god Salama were all written in the racial language of their god clan. Tell me your wishes, any wishes will do. Don't you have any wishes? The powerful and majestic voice of the super dragon came, pulling Weiss back from his memories. Beerus actually wanted to ask Shenlong to release the life bond between him and God Kai, but he didn't dare to speak. Lord Beerus, if you have any wishes, I can help you convey them. According to the rules, the 7th universe won the competition between the two universes, so naturally the opportunity to make a wish belonged to the 7th universe. But Beerus didn't dare to tell Whis his true wish no matter what. Beerus thought about why he and Kampa proposed the competition between universes, and had to tell Whis his original wish against his will. After hearing this, Whis looked at Beerus meaningfully, but didn't say anything. Finally, he told Beerus' wish to the super dragon in the language of God. After hearing this, the super dragon's eyes glowed red. Your wish has been fulfilled, so goodbye. With the departure of the super dragon, the void returned to its original state. Xianpa hung his head and returned to Bardas, but Bardas smiled and said, Master Xianpa, let's go back. Regardless of whether Xianpa was willing or not, he took Xianpa away. As for the 7th universe, Big Star was previously left in the inner universe by Sun Tian, and now there are only 6 people left, Whis, Beerus, Son Goku, Vegeta, Regis, and Fleur. Soon Whis led everyone back to the realm of destruction and sent Regis and Fleur back to the underworld respectively, while Son Goku and Vegeta teleported directly back to Earth. Beerus, perhaps because he felt guilty or something, went straight back to the palace and went to sleep. At the Omni King Shrine Square, Whis came here after arranging the affairs of Universe 7 and reported everything that had happened before to me, the High Priest. After 1 or 2 years of travel, the King of all has now returned to the palace. After confirming with the king, the High Priest gradually came up with an idea. Whis, are you thinking of Ning Xianpa and Beerus? This situation was actually planned by the scion named Sun Tian and the two of them. Weiss replied, Master High Priest, this possibility cannot be ruled out. According to my sister, Xianpa had already followed Sun Tian a few years ago. You can ask my sister to explain the details. Soon Bardas was summoned to the entire palace and slowly told the events of the past few years. The High Priest was shocked. I didn't expect that there would be so many problems in the lower world in recent years. But it seems that Pa and Beerus are no longer suitable to exist as gods of destruction. Weiss replied, this is about the power of the god of destruction, and we dare not make a decision on our own. Please let the High Priest decide. The High Priest asked, if we replace the god of destruction, do you have a suitable candidate? In order to become a god of destruction, the first thing one must do is to reach the limit of destruction. However, in the 6th and 7th universes, no one meets the requirements except Hit and Bigo. However, both of them disappeared with Sun Tian's departure. Whis said, in the lower realm of Universe 7, only Goku and Vegeta can barely meet the standards, but they are scions. Barda said, there is no suitable person in the lower realm of the 6th universe, and the strongest one now is only at the Emperor level. When he thought of this, Baduki was speechless. Sun Tian did not release Megiddo and Bottomo, which directly resulted in no one available in the 6th universe. The High Priest said, scions. This won't have much impact. In this case, let's choose these two to be the new god of destruction. The High Priest then entered the palace of the Omni King, explained the whole story to the king, took a decree and returned to the palace square of the Omni King. The High Priest was seen muttering something, and the next moment, the gods of destruction and the King of the Worlds from the 12 universes all gathered in the square of the Omni King's palace. At the same time, the guardian angels from the 12 universes and the earth angels from the 7th universe also appeared. What's going on? Did something big happen again? I don't know. It's been many years since we've gathered together, right? The gods of destruction of the 12 universes had no idea what the reason was, but the High Priest gathered them all from the 12 universes directly. However, only Kampa and Beerus felt that the matter might be related to them. The High Priest stepped forward, quiet. The gods of destruction and King Kais of the 12 universes, except for King Kai Shin of the 7th universe, half knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Welcome to the Grand Priest." Shin, the Kai of Universe 7, was completely confused. He didn't know why he suddenly appeared in a strange place when he was practicing well in the Kai realm. What's going on? Why am I here? And you are also Kais. Because of the Majin Buu incident, King Kai Shin did not receive proper guidance, and until now he still doesn't know that there are other universes besides the 7th universe. He also doesn't know that in the universe besides King Kai, there is also the god of destruction, and he doesn't know that above them there are angels and the king of all. Seeing the state of King Kai Shin, the High Priest was speechless. Whis, what's going on? Whis had no choice but to talk about some things that happened in the 7th universe over the years, starting from the 15th generation of the 7th universe, the King Kai Pitoro, and talked about the Majin Buu incident. He also talked about how because of the existence of King Kai Sin at that time, it was not reported, so King Kai Sin was completely unaware of some things happening in the universe. After hearing this, King God Shin felt that his own understanding was completely overturned. The High Priest was speechless. He had not expected that the god of destruction from the underworld would be so bold. However, he did not want to get involved in such matters. However, when the High Priest opened the list of gods in charge of the priesthood of the 12 universes, he found that it was recorded on the list that Kampa, the god of destruction of the 6th universe, used the Super DragonBallZ to break the life bond with God Kai on the 3,135,504,022nd day of the royal calendar. If it is understandable that the god of destruction sealed King Kai because he was afraid of his death, then Kampa's behavior completely slapped the face of their angel clan. The High Priest did not expect that Kampa would be so bold as to use the Super DragonBallZ to break the life bond with King Kai. The High Priest's face, which had not been angry for many years, showed anger. Xiangpa, as the god of destruction, you secretly used the Super DragonBallZ to release the life bond with the king of the Kai. Do you know your crime? The gods, who were originally laughing at Shin, the king of the 7th universe, suddenly looked at Xiangpa. Oh my god, he is so brave. Xiangpa suddenly knelt down and cried aggrievedly, Master High Priest, I was forced to do this. If I didn't do this, the scion named Sun Tian would have killed me at that time. The High Priest did know about the existence of Sun Tian, and his daughter had been imprisoned by Sun Tian. But now Sun Tian had been sent to an unknown place by the dragon god Salama, and even he could do nothing about it. But the fact that Xiangpa, as the god of destruction, concealed the disappearance of the guardian angel and did not report it also made the High Priest angry. Moreover, now was a critical moment, and the High Priest felt it necessary to make an example of others to prevent these gods of destruction from becoming more and more bold. The High Priest announced directly, Changpa, the 6th god of destruction, used the Super DragonBallZ to untie the life bond with the King of Kings. The Omni King has decided to remove him from his position as the god of destruction and to eliminate him immediately. At some point, the Omni King had come outside with 2 guards. The adorable Omni King raised his hand and Xiangpa disappeared in the square of the Omni King's palace, leaving only a ball of destructive energy. The rest of the gods of destruction were immediately filled with fear. A feeling of terror arose in their hearts, and they half knelt on the ground with their heads touching the ground, fearing that they would be the next. After dealing with Kampa, the high priest announced again, Beerus, the god of destruction of Universe 7, and Kampa tried to challenge the power of the Omni King. The Omni King has decided to remove him from his position as god of destruction and eliminate him directly. Beerus knew that this matter would most likely not be concealed, so he stood up and looked around at the other gods of destruction, saying calmly, "We are just tools for the angels to manage the lower universe. From the day we were forced to become gods of destruction, our fate was determined. Everyone, I'm leaving first." Beerus did not think of escaping. It was simply not realistic in front of a group of true gods. As soon as he finished speaking, the Omni King raised his hand again and activated his ability, leaving a ball of destructive energy where Beerus disappeared. Son Goku and Vegeta have been in shock ever since they were forcibly summoned here. Except for the so-called King Kai, everyone here has a more powerful aura than them. After seeing Kampa and Beerus being easily eliminated, even the two of them who are fearless were frightened by the power of the Omni King. When they watched the duel between the Omni King and Son Goku, they didn't think it was a big deal, but now, two powerful men with the limit of destruction were wiped out from this world in the blink of an eye. The reason why the High Priest did this was, on the one hand, to show the authority of the King of all, and on the other hand, to intimidate the gods of destruction in other universes and make them have fewer unnecessary thoughts. After Kampa and Beerus disappeared, the High Priest continued to announce the decree. Sun Wukong, the scion from the second mirror spacetime of the galaxy star region of the 7th universe, was appointed as the god of destruction of the 6th universe on the 3.1355,732nd day of the royal calendar by the decision of the Lord of all. You are in charge of killing and destroying the 10th universe. I hope you will fulfill your duties conscientiously. Following the High Priest's verdict, the destructive energy that originally belonged to Xiangpa stopped in front of Sun Wukong. Son Goku had never thought of becoming a god of destruction, but when he thought of the scene just now, he knew that if he refused, he would probably be wiped out from this world like Pa and Beerus the next moment. Before finding Frieza and taking revenge, Son Goku didn't want to die so easily. Bardos reminded, Sun Wukong, why don't you thank the Lord of all kings? Sun Wukong had no choice but to step forward and said, yes, thank you, Lord Quan Wang. The High Priest said, just touch this destructive energy with your hand and absorb it directly. Afterwards, Sun Wukong directly absorbed the destructive energy into his body. At the same time, Sun Wukong's clothes quickly changed into the exclusive clothes of the god of destruction. He put on golden bracelets on his hands, and golden armbands appeared on his arms. At the same time, the aura on his body increased rapidly, and he directly broke through the limit of destruction before stopping. However, due to his low starting point, Sun Wukong is now only the weakest god of destruction in the 12 universes. Moreover, Sun Wukong discovered that after this destructive energy was absorbed into his body, the chi in his body was constantly assimilated by this energy and was slowly turning into destructive energy. He was afraid that it would not be long before his chi would be completely transformed. Vegeta did not expect that Kakarot would directly become the god of destruction of the 6th universe, but he knew that it seemed that not everyone wanted the position of the god of destruction. The next moment, a voice that Vegeta didn't want to hear sounded, and the High Priest continued to announce, Vegeta, the original scion of the second mirror spacetime of the Milky Way star region of the 7th universe, has been decided by the Lord of all, and on the 3,135,507,322nd day of the royal calendar, you are appointed as the god of destruction of the 7th universe, in charge of the killing and destruction of the 10th universe. I hope you will perform your duties conscientiously. Vegeta was shocked. To be honest, he and Kakarot were not interested in the position of god of destruction. They firmly believed that with their abilities, they could practice to the limit of destruction, or even to the realm of true God. But they also knew that if they refused, the fate of Kampa and Beerus would be his. Without Whis' reminder, Vegeta took a step forward, yes, thank you, Lord Omni King. Then he absorbed the energy of the origin of destruction floating in front of him into his body. Soon Vegeta's clothes turned into the exclusive clothes of the god of destruction. At the same time, as the energy of the origin of destruction entered his body, his own aura continued to increase, and soon he broke through the limit of destruction, and finally was not much different from Son Goku. Seeing that the task had been completed, the High Priest announced, the position of the god of destruction is extremely important. I hope that you can take your responsibilities seriously, remove the tumors in your own universe in a timely manner, and cooperate with the King of the Kai to manage your own universe. After a pause, the High Priest continued, I hope everyone will not repeat the behavior of Kampa and Beerus. Otherwise, I will directly eliminate them without mercy. Okay, everyone go back to the universe under your jurisdiction. Compared to the god of destruction of the 12 universes such as Meng Day, God Kai is much calmer. Two gods of destruction were replaced in one day. For a moment, the gods of destruction in the other 10 universes felt a bit grieving, not knowing when they would end up like Kampa and Beerus. It may be ironic that the god of destruction cannot control his own life and death. The true demon realm is almost always in war, and fighting for territory is a common occurrence. If you want to be respected in the true demon realm, you must first have strength. In the true demon realm, it is a world where strength is respected. Zeta Swamp Village is a small village on the edge of the true demon realm. The strongest person in the village is only at the planetary level, with a combat power of about 20,000 points. If it were placed in the lower universe, it would also be considered a strong man, guarding a planet, but in the true demon realm, it is just an ordinary member. They don't even know the name of the true demon realm, and they have lived here for generations. Ace is an ordinary child from Zeta Swamp Village. A few days ago, he found a severely injured and unconscious human in the dark forest east of the village. This human was Sun Tian, who was sent into the true demon realm by the dragon god Salama not long ago. Ace has lived with his grandfather since he was a child. He usually makes a living by collecting herbs and has learned a lot of knowledge about medical treatment. However, he has been living alone since his grandfather passed away a few years ago. Ace has been determined to become a strong man since he was young, but unfortunately, Zeta Swamp Village is just an ordinary small village in the true demon realm, and it is impossible for anyone to teach them. Although the average combat power of the entire village is over 300, there is not even a strong person who can use Qigong bombs. Even the strongest village chief is just stronger. After discovering the seriously injured and unconscious Sun Tian, Ace brought him back to the village and treated him slowly. Half a year passed in a flash. Since Ace brought Sun Tian home, he not only went out to work every day to earn a living, but also had to take care of the unconscious Sun Tian. Fortunately, although Sun Tian was unconscious, he was able to absorb external energy to maintain his life. After half a year, the external injuries on his body had long since healed and his breathing was stable. It was just unclear why he had not woken up yet. In the origin continent, ever since Sun Tian used all his strength to forcefully send the Omni King and others out, the surrounding space has been constantly collapsing. After Sun Tian summoned the Super Dragon, he was severely hit by Whis and fell into coma. If the Super Dragon had not stopped him in time, Sun Tian would probably have been killed by Whis. Sun Tian fell into a coma, but his soul seemed to have traveled through endless time and space and entered the heart of the universe in his body, and he fell into a deep sleep. Subconsciously, he was slowly recovering from the trauma of the universe in his body. By using the laws of the universe to fight against the power of the Omni King, Sun Tian had already been severely injured. However, when he was ambushed by Whis later, the damage he suffered was not that great. Now, Sun Tian's inner universe, except for this original continent, has been almost completely destroyed, and the star field that had already evolved no longer exists. In the origin continent, the sky no longer had the sun, moon, and stars. Instead, there were cracks in space, and colorful lightning appeared from time to time. It lasted for nearly half a year before slowly calming down. However, the entire origin continent had shrunk to 1/10 of its original size. Ace returned home early that day. Seeing Sun Tian still lying on the bed, he helped Sun Tian clean up his body and went to cook. However, he didn't know that Sun Tian had opened his eyes the moment he turned around. It had been too long since he had spoken, and for a moment, Sun Tian hadn't come back to his senses. What is this place? He recalled that at the last moment, he used all his strength to send the Omni King and others out of his universe, and then he went out to summon the dragon, hoping to use the power of the dragon to get out of the predicament, but was attacked by Whis in the end and fell into a coma. I felt my body and it was really miserable. I thought I had resisted the power of the Omni King with the help of the laws of the universe in my body, but I didn't expect that some of the power still entered my body. Most of the strength in his body was used to resist the ability of the Omni King. Now, Sun Tian can be said to be at his weakest and can barely exert destructive level combat power. Sun Tianchang tried to sense the universe within his body, but found that his inner universe had been completely destroyed, and even the origin continent was only 1/10 of its original size. Fortunately, he found that Chi-Chi and the others were still safe. Afterwards, Sun Tian thought about it and disappeared from the bed. The next moment, he appeared in the universe inside his own body. The next moment, Sun Tian's figure appeared in front of Chi-Chi and others. In the center of the origin continent, Jianshu and others have gathered together since Sun Tian left half a year ago. They don't know what happened in the outside world, and Chi-Chi has no way to calm down and practice. For half a year, all the creatures in the entire origin continent were in a panic. If it weren't for the presence of Hit and Tianqiu, two powerful men with the limit of destruction, the country would have been in chaos long ago. Tianqiu shrunk his body to about 3 meters long. Seeing Chi-Chi's worried look, he stepped forward to comfort her. Don't worry, madam. With your abilities, nothing will happen. Having said that, Chi-Chi is still a little worried, especially half a year ago, when the entire universe was shaking and it looked like the end of the world. Fortunately, after half a year, the collapse of the universe finally stabilized, but Sun Tian has not returned. The key is that without Sun Tian in charge, they cannot leave this continent at all, and for now they can only worry. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared. Who else could it be but Sun Tian? Chi-Chi didn't care about Tianqiu at all. She stood up and rushed forward, hanging on Sun Tian's neck. Tian, what have you been doing for the past 6 months? You scared me to death. The changes in the universe within her body have made Chi-Chi nervous for the past 6 months, especially after she heard Tianqiu and others say that Sun Tian's opponent is the Omni King. Sun Tian hugged the beauty in his arms and comforted her. It's all over. Everything is fine now. Although he didn't know what the outside world was, Sun Tian couldn't bear to see Chi-Chi sad, so he hugged her for a while before separating. As a powerful being with the limit of destruction, Tianqiu Divine Beast could naturally feel that Sun Tian's current condition was very bad. Although he did not seem to have any wounds on the surface, his whole body gave him the feeling that he was suppressed by something. Master, your body. Sun Tian glared at Tian Su, signaling him not to talk nonsense. Although Sun Tian could only exert destructive-level combat power, he should not forget that this was his inner universe. Even if a strong man in the early stage of True God came in, he would not dare to say that he could defeat Sun Tian 100%. The moment I re-entered the inner universe, I had a basic understanding of what had happened in the inner universe over the past 6 months. He just didn't expect that he only wanted to control Whis in order to slowly gain control of the 6th and 7th universes, but he ended up attracting the great god Omni King and nearly died. Although I don't know how I escaped the disaster, I think it must be because of the Super Dragon. Soon the news of Sun Tian's return spread, and Hit and others who were still living in the universe inside Sun Tian's body also rushed over. My lord, I'm so glad you're okay. Master Cheap, you're back. As for Kampa and Beerus, everyone knew that the two had changed their ways the moment the Omni King showed up. Of course, they didn't know that the current Kampa and Beerus had already become a thing of the past and had been eliminated by the Omni King half a year ago. Outside, Ace finished making dinner and prepared to go take another look at the monster he picked up, but found that the monster could no longer disappear. Ace thought to himself, that's weird, how could he disappear? Did he just leave on his own after waking up? But why wasn't there any sound at all? Sun Tian roughly understood the situation in his inner universe, and suddenly remembered that it seemed like a child had been taking care of him for the past 6 months. So he said goodbye to everyone and decided to leave the inner universe first to see what the situation was in the outside world. Ace had originally thought that he could teach Sun Tian how to practice after he woke up. In Ace's opinion, Sun Tian was able to stay in the dark forest without being eaten by monsters while in a coma. Although he was only a peripheral warrior, he must be an extremely powerful person. Although Ace lives in the real demon realm, he is still a child after all. In addition, he lives alone in a corner of the village. Few people come to play with him. Since he dragged Sun Tian back home from the outskirts of the dark forest half a year ago, he often talked to the unconscious Sun Tian about his dreams. Now Sun Tian suddenly disappeared, and he still felt a little uncomfortable. Just as Ace was about to turn around and leave, a figure suddenly reappeared on the bed where Sun Tian had been recuperating before. Hey! Ace was startled by the sudden appearance of Sun Tian, but when he looked closely, he found that this figure was the human he had taken care of for the past 6 months. Hello, uncle. Although Sun Tian has been in a deep sleep to recuperate over the past 6 months, he is not completely unaware of what is happening in the outside world. Although he doesn't know where the little boy in front of him is now, he is still very grateful to Ace. Your name is Ace, right? Ace was curious about how Sun Tian knew his name, but he still replied respectfully, yes, uncle. Sun Tian looked at the simple Ace and said, thank you for your care over the past 6 months. Uncle wants to ask you, where is this place now? Ace thought Sun Tian was lost and replied, we are in Zeta Swamp Village. Uncle, are you lost? Sun Tian looked at Ace, Theta Swamp Village. Although most of the energy in Sun Tian's body is used to suppress the Omni King's law of elimination, he can still sense things from a long distance. However, in Sun Tian's perception, there are no powerful existences around. As for this village, although everyone's aura is not bad, the strongest has a combat power of only more than 20,000 points. Moreover, according to Sun Tian's perception, he found that the place he was in was actually very large. Even with his current energy, he could easily sense the size of an entire planet. However, when Sun Tian extended his spiritual sense to the maximum, he could not find the edge. Sun Tianxin thought, could it be a small world similar to the Qianxu realm? At this moment, Sun Tian discovered that a group of wild beasts with a combat power of about 50,000 to 100,000 rushed out of a forest, and their target was the current village. Sun Tian asked, Ace, what is the forest 100 miles to the east? Ace replied, that is the dark forest. I heard from the village chief that there are many powerful monsters in it. However, these monsters usually only live inside the forest and will not come out easily. Sun Tian was puzzled. Warcraft, could it be that he had traveled through time again and entered the Western fantasy world? While the two were talking, the group of monsters had already attacked the village. A group of people with a combat strength ranging from 50,000 to 20,000 were looking at the sudden appearance of the monsters in horror. Village chief, it's bad, it's a group of monsters, we can't deal with it at all. Everyone, scatter and flee. Damn it, why did a group of monsters appear out of nowhere? Ace naturally heard the noise from outside. He quickly ran out of his hut and saw the villagers fleeing in all directions. The group of monsters, each with a terrified look in their eyes, seemed to be running away from something, and were coming towards Ace and his friends. Suddenly a villager saw Ace and said quickly, Ace, run. I don't know why these monsters are crazy and have collectively rushed out of the dark forest. But although Ace matured earlier, he was just a child after all, and had never seen such a terrifying group of monsters. As for why this group of monsters fled here, Sun Tian had actually discovered the reason. In that huge forest, two behemoths with a combat power of 1 million were fighting. Not only the village where Ace was now, but it seemed that many surrounding villages had suffered. The monsters did not attack the villagers, but if there were villagers blocking their way, the monsters would just step over them, as if taking a detour would delay their escape. Many villagers were unaware of the situation and were trampled to death by the monsters, and some houses were also ruthlessly trampled. In a short period of time, countless villagers were killed or injured, and Ace was already frightened out of his wits, standing stupidly at the door of the house. Seeing the monsters approaching, when Ace reacted and wanted to escape, it was too late. However, at this moment, hundreds of energy bombs flew out from Ace's cabin. Any monster that tried to pass this road was reduced to ashes in an instant. The villagers who were fleeing for their lives stood there in amazement, and even forgot to escape for a moment. A voice woke up Ace, who was standing stupidly at the door. Ace, do you want to become stronger? Ace replied subconsciously, I want to. Suddenly realizing something seemed wrong, he turned around and asked, Uncle, was that you just now? At this time, Sun Tian walked out slowly, with energy bullets flashing on his fingertips, and smiled, want to learn? I saw energy bombs, as if they had eyes, flying towards the group of monsters that were approaching from a distance. The monsters that seemed extremely powerful to the villagers were being ruthlessly harvested like weeds on the roadside. Some monsters seemed to have noticed the situation here. Although the two terrifying auras in the dark forest behind were terrible, the human in front didn't seem to be easy to deal with either. Although these monsters were powerful, with the strongest even reaching 100,000, they did not seem to have any intelligence. However, they instinctively stopped fleeing, looked towards Sun Tian in horror, and then chose another direction to flee. Ace looked at Sun Tian with stars in his eyes. Although he knew half a year ago that this uncle he picked up should be a super strong man, he did not expect him to be so powerful. The surviving villagers also came over. One of them, a middle-aged man with a combat power of about 23,000, stepped forward and said, Respected strong man, thank you for your help. I am Ashim, the village chief of this village. Before the man named Ashim could finish, Sun Tian interrupted him with a wave of his hand, Go do what you need to do. I'm helping you today for Ace's sake. Ashim looked at Ash, then at Sun Tian, and thought, isn't this the man that Ace picked up from the dark forest half a year ago? Ashim remembered that the people in the village said that Ace was stupid, but they never thought that this man was so powerful. However, they did not dare to refute Sun Tian's words. They thanked him and went to arrange the affairs of the village. Ace suddenly knelt down and asked, Uncle, can you teach me to become stronger? Sun Tian asked, Why do you want to become stronger? Ace replied, I want to become as strong as my uncle, so I won't be afraid of these monsters in the future. Children are sometimes so easily satisfied. The reason for becoming stronger is just to avoid being afraid of these monsters, which makes Sun Tian feel both amused and helpless. Well, who asked this kid to take care of me for half a year when I was unconscious? Sun Tian said, it will be very hard for you to practice with me. Aren't you afraid of being tired? Ace replied firmly, don't be afraid. My grandfather has been training me since I was a child, but a few years ago, my grandfather was killed by a monster in the dark forest while trying to save me. When I become stronger, I can find that monster to avenge my grandfather. Sun Tian observed Ace. Although he was young, his body was indeed trained. It's just that the training method was not very good. He didn't know where he was now. Ace, who looked no more than 10 years old, had a combat power of nearly 800. He just seemed unable to use the strength in his body. If he trained well, he might not be able to become an excellent fighter in the future. After deciding to train Ace, Sun Tian settled down in Zeta Swamp Village. During this period, villagers kept coming to visit, and Ace's hut, which was usually deserted for almost 10 days or half a month, suddenly became the focus of the village. Everyone in the village knew that there lived a very powerful human being here, who could turn countless monsters into ashes with a wave of his hand. Some adults in particular hoped that their children could follow this powerful man in practicing. During this period, Sun Tian guided Ace in his practice while also practicing again himself. After the battle with the King of All, Sun Tian realized the horror of a true god and an extremely powerful person. Originally, Tian was planning to let Chi-Chi and the others go outside to move around, but he found that except for himself who could freely enter his own inner universe, he was unable to open a passage to connect to the current continent. Strange, am I really not in the Dragon Ball world anymore? Sun Tian couldn't find a solution for a moment. After comforting Chi-Chi and the others and asking them to practice well, he had to practice outside alone. Sun Tian discovered that the airspace of this continent was very stable now. The fight between the two monsters with a combat power of 1 million that he sensed not long ago actually only destroyed some trees and mountains in the forest, and did not cause great damage like in the original 7th universe. What kind of world is this? Sun Tian is very interested in this world, but the most urgent task is to refine the energy of laws that the King of All left in his body. In this way, Sun Tian guided Ace's practice while refining and comprehending the energy of the Omni King's law of clearing. Half a year has passed in the blink of an eye. Under the guidance of Sun Tian, Ace has undergone earth-shaking changes. His understanding of Qi and his combat power have increased dozens of times from 800. At least in this village now, no one can be his opponent. Sun Tian has also eliminated about 1/10 of the energy of the King of All Laws, and now he can barely exert the combat power of the middle stage of destruction. Ace, I'm leaving. On this day, Ace had just returned from training in the dark forest, carrying on his shoulder a snake-like monster that was over 10 meters long, but the head of the monster had completely disappeared. What? Uncle is leaving, but Ace still has a lot to learn from Uncle. Sun Tian walked up to Ace, touched Ace's head, and said, I have taught you everything I should teach you. You have to walk the road ahead on your own. After half a year of guidance, Sun Tian had repaid Ace's favor. There was no point in staying any longer. Besides, he needed to figure out where he was and could not stay here forever. Although Ace has become much stronger after his guidance, his combat power is still less than 50,000. It is okay in this small village, but it is obviously not suitable for him to follow him. Without waiting for Ai Sidwa to speak, Sun Tian said, okay, practice well in the future and protect your village. If we are destined to meet again, maybe we will meet again. So, goodbye. By the way, my name is Sun Tian. Without waiting for Ace to reply, Sun Tiandang rose into the sky, chose a direction, and soon disappeared from Ace's sight. I can fly. People can actually fly. I will practice hard. One day, I will be able to fly freely in the sky like my uncle. Ace was just a child after all. Although he was reluctant to see Sun Tian leave, the time passed quickly. However, it would probably take many years for Ace to practice to the point where he could fly freely in the sky of the true demon realm. After Sun Tian left, he quickly flew to a height of several thousand meters, cutting through the sky and flying aimlessly. Along the way, Sun Tian discovered that the space of this continent was really stable, and if the breath of creatures on the continent was converted into combat power, there were basically thousands of them, but these creatures were just like ordinary people. Sun Tian discovered many battles along the way. Although the combat power of these people reached millions, the damage they caused to the continent did not seem to be like in the previous universe, where they did not have the destructive power to easily destroy the planet. During this period, Sun Tian also went down to inquire, but did not get any useful information. When he was at a loss, Sun Tian sensed that tens of millions of kilometers away, there were several creatures that were close to the limit of the Emperor, and there was even a breath that had reached the limit of the Emperor. Moreover, there were countless creatures around these powerful auras. Hope to get some useful information. Changing direction, Sun Tian flew quickly towards the breath. In the true demon realm, the stability of space is far beyond the reach of the lower universe. Those with a combat power below 100,000 are basically ordinary people, and they may never leave their villages in their entire lives. They also account for the largest proportion, accounting for 99.9999% of the entire true demon realm. Only those who have reached the star domain level can be barely considered strong in the true demon realm. But if you want to fly in the true demon realm, you must at least have the cultivation level of the peak of the star domain. However, in the true demon realm, there will not be too many people who can reach the peak of the star domain. It is often good for one person in hundreds of billions to reach that level. Even in the true demon realm, the emperor level is regarded as a noble. In those true god kingdoms, they are also the existence that governs a region. The city of Nandas is a main city in the Anipu domain of the Molan divine kingdom. As a strong man at the emperor's limit, Osama is the uncrowned king in the Anipu domain. His combat power is top-notch even among the emperors, with a combat power of up to 3.9 billion. The kingdom of Molan was founded by the demon god Badikas of the true demon realm. The territory under its jurisdiction is approximately the size of hundreds of galaxies and is divided into more than 30,000 domains. The manager of each domain is called a domain lord, and those who can become domain lords are at least emperors. Osama is the lord of the Anipu domain under the jurisdiction of the demonic kingdom. He usually stays in the main city, Nandas. However, in the demonic kingdom, the area of a domain is so large that even the domain lord cannot have complete control over his own domain. Other forces will often appear in the domain. However, in name, the lord of a domain is the real official organization. Of course, it does not mean that the lord of a domain is the strongest in a domain. No one knows where some old monsters are hidden. In Osama's palace, Osama was resting. Suddenly, a breath came, and Osama almost fell to his knees. Who is it? Could it be a messenger from the kingdom of God? But it shouldn't be so fast. Suddenly a figure appeared in front of Osama. Who else could it be but Sun Tian? Osama knew that the other party was definitely much stronger than him, so he stepped forward and asked carefully, "Who are you?" Sun Tian looked at the person in front of him. He was at the emperor's limit and his combat power was about 3.9 billion. He was the strongest person Sun Tian had ever met since he came to this continent. However, it is still far from enough for Sun Tian, although most of Sun Tian's strength is now used to fight against the energy of the law of elimination left in his body by the Omni King. Sun Tian stretched out his hand, and Osama's body moved towards Sun Tian uncontrollably. What? How can he be so strong? He has no ability to resist at all. Osama tried his best to burst out all his strength, but his body seemed to be filled with lead and he could not mobilize any strength at all. Sun Tian's voice came, "Don't struggle, I won't do anything to you, I'm just borrowing the knowledge in your mind." A hand gently touched Osama's head, and Osama fainted from happiness. Pictures flashed in Sun Tian's mind, and he finally knew where he was. Domain Lord, True Demon Realm, Demon God Badikas, Demonic Kingdom, Shura Kingdom, God and Demon Battlefield. Although Sun Tian had sensed the existence of the true demon realm and the true god realm as early as when he became a true god in the 7th universe, he did not expect that after falling into a coma more than half a year ago, he would actually be in the true demon realm. There are more than 40 demons in the open, and the maximum number of true gods is more than 5. This real demon world is really powerful. No wonder even the angels from the real god world dare not easily step into this world. After getting the information he wanted, Sun Tian erased Osama's memory of Sun Tian and then left the palace. Time goes back to a year ago. Frieza fought on Earth and almost destroyed the entire Earth, but was stopped by Son Goku and Vegeta who had transformed into Super Saiyan gods at the critical moment. Although he finally broke through to the 6th level frozen demon again, he was outnumbered and was killed by Son Goku and Vegeta. In the end, only his head was left. After escaping into space, he fell into a coma. In the 7th universe's galactic star field, in the Great Mirror spacetime, Frieza's legions, including Sorbs, have been in chaos since Frieza's death. The original Frieza legions have been dispersed and each has its own territory. Solb also went to Earth to look for the DragonBallZ in an attempt to revive the dead Frieza, but the Dragon Ball warriors on Earth had already died, leaving only Trunks. As for Namek, after the battle with Frisia and the fulfillment of the wishes of the Earthlings, it became completely hidden and could not be found even with the technology of Frisia's army. In the space of the northern galaxy, a disc-shaped spaceship is flying rapidly. Salb, as the acting commander of Frisia's army, sits in the main seat, and below him are some outstanding warriors of the army. An alien with 2 horns on his head said angrily, "But it's a mistake. Since King Frisia's death, the entire army has been in complete chaos. After those guys knew King Frisia was dead, they all started to divide up the territory." Salbi looked at the warrior in front of him. "Sasami, haven't you found any trace of the Namekians yet?" Sasami replied, "Yes, Master Salb. Sasami is a general under Salbi, with a combat power of up to 53,000. Even in the past, only the Jinyu force could surpass him, and he is highly appreciated by Salbi. In the Frisia army today, only Salb still bears the name of Frisia, and the others have long gone their separate ways. Salb and his group now only have dozens of planets left. It can be said that without Frisia, their territory has shrunk to the freezing point." The spacecraft continued to fly, preparing to return to the base for replenishment, when suddenly, the spacecraft's surveillance camera captured a horrifying scene. A few hundred kilometers away from the spacecraft, a space crack suddenly appeared. A head fell out of the crack, and then the crack disappeared. Salbi was shocked, enlarged the picture quickly. As the picture zoomed in, a familiar face appeared in Salbi's field of vision. "It's King Frisia. Oh my god, wasn't the king already destroyed by the scions on Earth?" The head seemed to have no life, but at this moment, the eyes on the head suddenly blinked a few times, and a slight life reaction came from the head. "Quick, lifeboat." Soon, Frisia's head was rescued, and through testing, it was found that he was just in a deep coma. "Lord Salb, is this King Frisia? He doesn't look that impressive." Salb glared at the alien. "Tagma, watch your words." Afterwards, Salb had his men quickly put Frisia's head into the latest regeneration device, but Salb didn't know whether Frisia, who only had a head left, could be resurrected and recover. Frisia was very unwilling to give up. He was finally resurrected and cultivated stronger power, but he did not expect that he was still defeated by Sun Bei and the others in the end. After escaping from the Earth, Frisia's unwilling will supported him from dying, but he also fell into a coma. After an unknown amount of time, Frisia felt as if he had fallen into a vortex. After a long time, Frisia even thought he might die again. It was here that the vortex sent his head out again. When he woke up again, he found that he was surrounded by some unknown liquid, but he could feel that his strength was slowly recovering. However, Frisia did not wake up at this time and was still unconscious. Familiar voices were heard from the outside from time to time. However, after a while, Frisia found that the area below his head was itchy, as if something was about to grow out. At this time, the energy in the regenerative nutrient capsule was almost exhausted. Salbi looked at Frisia, who still had only a head left. Although Frisia's vital responses had been greatly enhanced after treatment, he was obviously lacking in energy. "Quick, inject all the regeneration nutrient solution." Below, a group of aliens are working non-stop. The sleepy Frisia felt the infusion of new energy, and his body seemed to be recovering. Outside the spaceship, Salb saw Frisia's breath becoming stronger and stronger. "My king, please wake up soon." Nearly 10 days passed like this, and when there was only 1 drop of regeneration fluid left on the spaceship, Frisia's body finally recovered completely. Frisia, who was sleeping, suddenly opened his eyes, a powerful aura emanated, and the entire regeneration device was shattered directly. The alarms on the spacecraft kept going off, and the combat power detectors kept issuing warnings, followed by black smoke and explosions. All the people on the spaceship were frightened by the energy and fell to the ground. A familiar voice was heard, which attracted Frisia over. "My king, you are finally resurrected." Frisia looked in the direction of the voice. "It's you again, Master Salbi. It looks like you are really my lucky star. Isn't it? Last time, it was Thorb who went to Earth to collect the DragonBallZ to revive him. This time, when Frisia was about to die, it was Thorb who found him in time and snatched him back from the hands of the god of death." Sorb had no idea why Frisia said that. "My pleasure." At this time, Frisia already knew that this was no longer the previous time and space. Frisia had merged the souls of 3 time and space in hell, so he naturally knew that the Salb in front of him was from another time and space. The resurrected Frisia felt the condition of his body. It was perfect and even stronger than before the serious injury. "Sorb, what's the situation of Frisia's army now?" Salb had a headache, but still slowly told him some things that happened after Frisia's death. After listening, Frisia said, "You mean to say that my Frisia army is almost disbanded now, right?" Sowerby replied, yes. You mean to say that the scion who killed me is now dead on Earth, right? Yes. You mean to say that there is still a scion on Earth? My lord, yes, it is Vegeta's son, named Trunks. We dare not approach that area. Frisia laughed crazily, okay. Before I find the way back, I will unify the galaxy again. Those who betrayed me, the Emperor of the Universe Frisia is back. Ha ha ha. My king, what should we do now? Should we recruit soldiers? But we only have dozens of planets now. And the only warrior who can fight is Sasami, and the others only have a combat strength of a few thousand. Frisia replied, don't worry, I'm back. One person is enough. No matter if they are the ones who betrayed me or the scions on Earth, ha 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 ha, just wait for your fear. My lord, we better not mess with the Earth now. That Trunks is very strong. We once detected an energy reaction of over 10 billion, and it came from the Earth. Oh wow. 10 billion. Looks like I can enjoy the battle. The plane is delayed, so I'll send you a chapter first. 10 billion energy reactions. If it were in the past, Frisia might have run as far as he could. Now after being reborn again, Frisia's energy has increased again. Although there is no way to test it in the spaceship now, Frisia knows that he has mastered the 6th order frozen evil transformation. If Frisia was still afraid of the god of destruction Beerus a few months ago, then now even if he met Beerus again, Frisia felt that he didn't need to be afraid anymore. Mr. Salb, I heard that my brother Kvira now controls the entire southern galaxy. Ever since Frisia and Claude died at the hands of Scions more than 20 years ago, Kvira knew that he could not be a match for those Scions and had been guarding his own southern galactic territory peacefully. However, after all the Scions on Earth died one after another, Kvira's mind became active again. However, Kvira's strength was not very good at that time, and the Earth was destroyed by the androids. He came to Earth several times but returned in failure. He even almost died at the hands of the androids once. Later, Big Trunk's strength increased greatly through his training in time and space from the Sun Tianjing, and he finally succeeded in destroying all the androids, but by then Trunks had also grown up. At that time, because of several setbacks on Earth, Kvira began to practice hard after returning. But when he came to Earth with greatly increased strength to seek revenge on androids 17 and 18, he found that there was no trace of the androids anymore. At this time, Trunks also discovered Kvira who came to Earth. At that time, Trunks could already transform into Super Saiyan 2 with a combat power of 10 billion, and Kvira's 4th level Ice Demon transformation had also been condensed to the peak. The two fought on Earth, but in the end neither could do anything to the other. The two went from a life-and-death duel at the beginning to a mutual respect for each other later on, and even when Majin Buu appeared on Earth, Kvira came to Earth specifically and joined forces with Trunk to finally kill Buu. Salby discovered that the 10 billion energy reactions that occurred on Earth were exactly the energy that was released when Kvira came to Earth and fought with Trunks, but that was many years ago. From then on, Salb designated that area of the Earth as a restricted area, not allowing Frisia's army to go there to avoid getting into trouble. Salb didn't know why Frisia suddenly asked this. Yes, King Frisia, King Kvira has already controlled the entire southern galaxy a few years ago. Kvira. You used to be scary, even your father was afraid of your strength, but what about you now? Frisia knew that if he wanted to rule the galaxy again, he would have to pass the Kvira level, as well as the Scion on Earth. Well, let's use Kvira to test my current strength. Sol Bay, adjust the route and go directly to the South Galaxy. Salb was shocked. My lord, are we going to join forces with King Kvira and destroy the Scions on Earth? Salb believed that Frisia was frightened by the tens of billions of energy reactions on Earth, so he thought of joining forces with Kvira. However, Frisia's current strength has far exceeded the cognition of Salb and others. Don't worry about it, just follow the order. Southern Galaxy, Kvira's headquarters planet. Kvira has now lost interest in conquering other planets and spends most of his time practicing alone on the headquarters planet. But these past 2 days, Kvira has been feeling a little uneasy. What's going on? I always feel like something bad is going to happen. At this moment, a powerful life reaction suddenly appeared in Kvira's perception. Is this energy the frozen demon? Impossible, there should be no one else in the Milky Way star region who is the frozen demon except me. The ability to sense chi was taught to him by Trunks during their sparring session. Kvira walked out of his palace and saw a disc-shaped spaceship slowly descending from the sky. A spaceship from the remnants of Frisia's forces? The next moment, a figure appeared in Kvira's field of vision. What, how could it be possible? It's you. Frisia flew down slowly. My big brother, shouldn't you congratulate me on my resurrection? Kvira said, Frisia, why do you come to me? If Kvira couldn't sense chi, he might still brag, but now, he clearly felt Frisia's power. I heard that you have unified the entire southern galaxy. As your brother, I am here to congratulate you. Frisia has never been so happy. In the past, he would always find ways to avoid Kvira, but now. Kvira replied, since when did we, the Ice Clan, have such feelings towards each other? Frisia, if you have something to say, just tell me. If not, I will not accompany you anymore. Oh. Frisia showed his signature smile, Kvira, today I want to see who among us is the strongest genius of the Ice Clan. Although Kvira felt the terrifying power of Frisia, it didn't mean that he was really afraid. He just didn't want to fight in a meaningless battle. Frisia, do you think you've become stronger and come here to show off? If you want to fight, come on. Frisia laughed, transform. Kvira, you can't be my opponent in your current state. As you wish. Kvira let out a loud roar, and his entire body shape began to change. Compared to normal, his body was several times larger and stronger. The 4 sharp horns on his head extended backwards, his mouth was covered by a mask, his eyes turned red and his pupils disappeared, his other 2 shoulders protruded like chest protectors, 2 horns grew from his back, and his arms also grew like knife-like protrusions. His aura was much stronger than before. Frisia laughed, good, are you ready? Seeing that Frisia remained calm after seeing his transformation, Kvira took the lead in attacking. In just a moment, Kvira appeared in front of Frisia and the attack was launched quickly. Too slow. Frisia easily blocked Kvira's attack and launched a counterattack, punching Kvira away. Boom! The palace behind Kvira was directly reduced to ruins, raising a cloud of dust. Kvira stroked his abdomen, a trickle of blood leaking out of his mouth. He looked at Frisia in disbelief, how is it possible? Normal state can easily defeat my 4th order perfect demon form. You know, in the 4th level perfect demon form, Kvira's combat power has reached at least nearly 100 billion combat power, but in Frisia's hands, he could not last more than 1 round. Frisia laughed loudly, my big brother, it seems all these years have not been in vain, you can actually take my blow head on. Frisia was also surprised. He thought that with his attack, Kvira would at least be seriously injured, but he didn't expect that he only injured the opponent. Kvira also laughed loudly, as expected, even my father praised you as a genius, Frisia. But do you think you can definitely defeat me? Frisia laughed and said, my big brother, it seems that you have not yet faced the reality. Or do you still have strength that you have not yet demonstrated? Kvira said, then just watch. Kvira originally didn't want to use this latest form. In his opinion, this form was not perfect enough and consumed too much physical strength. However, now he was forced by Frisia and had no choice but to use this latest form. Kvira adjusted himself, and his body began to emit a stronger aura, and his whole body was wrapped in golden flames. After about a few minutes, Kvira showed up, in the same form as a 4th level demon, but his entire body turned golden, and his aura was even more powerful. Frisia originally thought that Kvira would be a 5th order demon like him, but he didn't expect that Kvira only changed the skin color based on the 4th order. Kvira slowly opened his eyes, his breathing calmed down, and his recent injuries were completely healed. Frisia, you have to be careful. In this form, I can't guarantee my control over my power. If I kill you accidentally, don't blame me as your big brother. Frisia smiled, come on. Let me see what changes you make in this form. Good. Kvira gathered dozens of destructive light balls and attacked Frisia. A trivial scheme. Facing the destructive light balls that were getting closer and closer, Frisia snorted coldly and blew at the same time, and these destructive light balls could not get close at all. At this point, Kvira suddenly appeared behind Frisia and kicked him with a kick. You are too arrogant. Go to hell. Frisia didn't expect that the golden Kvira's speed could escape his eyes. He was hit directly and flew out, creating a cloud of dust. Taking this opportunity, Kvira raised one hand, and fired countless Qigong bullets at Frisia's location. After more than a minute, Kvira finally stopped attacking. Frisia, come out, I know you're okay. Just now, Kvira felt that Frisia's aura suddenly increased several times, so he stopped attacking. Frisia didn't expect that he would be suppressed by Kvira with just one move, and in the smoke and dust, no matter how he dodged, the opponent was ready to launch energy bombs at him. Fortunately, Frisia put up the protective shield in time, otherwise, although he would not be seriously injured, he would definitely lose face. The smoke cleared, and Frisia's figure appeared. Not bad, you are worthy of being my big brother. Your power reminds me of myself a few months ago. At this time, Frisia's form had changed. The 5th level Frisia looked even more ferocious than Kvira, and exuded an aura several times stronger than before. Kfira looked at Frisia in front of him in disbelief. What form are you in? You are so powerful. The aura of Frisia in the 5th level demon form was no weaker than that of Golden Kfira. Frisia moved and appeared in front of Kfira in an instant. Boom! Kfira reacted quickly and grabbed Frisia's attacking fist. The two began to wrestle, and the entire ground continued to sink. After a while, a large pit with a radius of several thousand meters appeared in the original place. On the ground, Sol Bay and others had already started their spaceships and stopped them in the sky. Their strength could be reduced to ashes even by a trace of the aftermath. That's all, Frisia. If that's all you have, there's no way you can defeat me. Frisia sneered, really? A beam of light suddenly appeared from Frisia's eyes and shot towards Kfira. Destruction beam. Kfira lowered his head and dodged quickly, while kicking Frisia into the sky. Frisia stopped in mid-air and raised one hand. Soon, a huge energy ball appeared. It was several thousand meters in diameter. Kfira, try my enhanced planet-destroying bomb. Frisia threw an energy ball and smashed it at Kfira on the ground. Frisia, do you want to destroy my planet? Damn it! At this moment, Kfira actually used the Kamehameha moves, and a huge amount of energy gathered between his hands. Before Frisia's destructive bomb arrived, Kfira directly attacked with Kamehameha. The two energies were entangled, and it was difficult to tell which was stronger within a short period of time. Kfira, you're using a Scion move, that's shameful. Kfira remained unmoved and continued to input energy. Soon, he pushed back the planet-destroying bomb. Frisia easily made way, and at the same time his speed increased dramatically, and he fell back to the ground. The two quickly fought again, but as time passed, Kfira gradually fell into a disadvantage. The golden form consumed too much of Kfira's physical strength. After hundreds of rounds, Kfira gasped and said, Frisia, I didn't expect you to have reached this point now. Frisia disagreed, ha ha ha. I'm not afraid to tell you, my big brother, I have another level of transformation. What? Impossible. The current Frisia is no weaker than him. If there is really another transformation as Frisia said, then he will definitely not be his opponent. Despair. Although Frisia also consumed a lot of energy, it was much better than Kfira's immature golden form. Alright, that's about it. Final blow, super destructive energy bomb. Frisia suddenly knocked Kfira away, with a purple energy ball in his hand, emitting a destructive aura. No. What kind of energy is this? It feels like an enhanced version of the destructive ray. Before Kfira could react, the entire energy ball enveloped Kfira, forming a destructive energy space and making a sizzling sound. Kfira was trapped in it, with destructive energy constantly entering his body. He felt like he could be turned into nothing at any time. Frisia laughed, ha 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 ha, after I take care of you, I'll go to Earth and take care of that Scion. No one in this galaxy can stop me anymore. However, at this moment, a voice sounded, Frisia, you should be Frisia. Frisia saw who it was and said, it's you. A Scion from Earth. The person who came was Trunks. It turned out that there was a battle between Frisia and Kfira. Because both of them were terribly strong, the aura of the battle was sensed by Trunks who was far away on Earth, so he rushed over at high speed. At this time, Trunks had golden hair, and the aura he exuded was even more terrifying than Kfira's golden form. I didn't expect that Vegeta's son would be so strong. I wanted to deal with you later, but now that you've come to my door, let's get rid of you all at once. Why did Frisia know Trunks? It was because a few months ago on Earth, there was a kid who looked exactly like Trunks. I remember that kid was shouting that his father Vegeta would come to avenge him. Trunks replied, Frisia, you are still so arrogant. You are so eager to come out and die with just a little power. Damn it, you little brat. You're still so rude. Trunks turned to Kfira and said, Kfira, do you need my help? Although Kfira was wrapped in Frisia's destructive energy, it was actually not greatly affected. You have to know that their Ice Clan was originally practicing the law of destruction. Although the combat power of Golden Kfira has not reached the limit of destruction, in terms of talent, it is definitely top-notch. No, be careful of Frisia, he said he has another transformation, it should be true. Trunks said he understood. He was not like Son Goku and the others. Once in a fight, he would definitely fight with all his strength. He was definitely the kind of person who was ruthless and didn't talk much. Then you figure out a way to get out by yourself. I'll come meet this legendary figure. Although Da Tu had always heard of Frisia, he had never actually come into contact with him. This time he could try out whether he was as powerful as the legend said. Trunks directly drew out the sword behind him, and his aura suddenly increased. The reason was that his golden hair stood up. In an instant, Trunks appeared directly behind Frieza and slashed at him with a sword. What? So fast? Frieza didn't expect that the scion in front of him had completely different personalities from Goku and the others. If it were Goku and the others, they would definitely not be like Trunks at the beginning. Compared to the long time it took for Kvira to transform, Frieza had already mastered the sixth order form after his battle with Sun Bei a few months ago, and since then he had been using his willpower to resist the invasion of death. Trunks' sudden burst of energy made Frieza feel a life and death crisis in an instant. Before Trunks' attack came, Frieza quickly activated the life shield, and at the same time a powerful breath was released from Frieza's body. Boom! Trunks slashed with his sword, and Frieza's protective shield only lasted for a few breaths before it shattered, but it also bought Frieza some time. Frieza retreated at a high speed in an instant, and at the same time, the 6th level ice demon form appeared, and an aura far stronger than the one he had just fought with Kvira came from it. A purple-black aura emanated from Frieza's body, and his entire appearance had completely changed. A pair of sharp horns stood upside down, and his entire body had grown nearly twice as large, while it was as if he was covered in a layer of armor. Little brat, I didn't expect you to be so strong. It seems that it was right to crush you to death in another mirror dimension. Trunks was shocked. What did you say? Another time and space? Frieza laughed evilly. Yes, you in that other time and space were incredibly weak. Trunks said angrily, if that's the case, I won't let you off. Frieza was also angry. He thought that there could not be such a powerful scion except Goku and Vegeta. However, he never thought that after entering a world without Goku and Vegeta, he would actually meet a scion who could make him feel a life and death crisis. Forgive me. I think you haven't figured out the current situation yet. Frieza, who has already entered the 6th level form, has an aura that is much stronger than before. When he heard Trunks' angry voice, he became furious. Trunks also felt the exploding aura from Frieza. He thought that it was already great for the Ice Clan to have one Kvira, but he didn't expect that this Frieza, whom he had never met, was even more powerful than Kvira. But Trunks was not afraid, because he was now much stronger than before, many times stronger. Frieza, I have to say, although I have never seen you, you are the strongest enemy I have ever encountered. But to defeat me, this strength is far from enough. Arrogant. Whether he is arrogant or not, you will know after you fight him. Trunks held the sword in one hand, and a sharp sword energy emanated from the sword. Come on. Trunks rushed towards Frieza at a speed that was invisible to the naked eye. He held a sword in one hand, and the sword energy exploded hundreds of meters long, and slashed at him fiercely. Humph. You underestimated me. Frieza swung one arm, and a destructive energy bomb flew towards him. At the same time, he quickly gathered energy with his other hand. Boom. The sword energy long sword suddenly cut off Frieza's destructive energy bomb. With a loud bang, a huge pit with a diameter of several thousand meters was blown out on the ground. At the same time, the sword energy slashed along, and a gully several hundred meters wide and tens of thousands of meters long extended along the attack. On the other side, Kvira used all his strength and finally escaped from the destructive energy space where Frieza had no follow-up strength. So strong. It looks like I can't save my main star. At this time, Kvira had already been severely injured after escaping from the destructive energy space. He could no longer maintain his golden form and regressed to the 4th level form. Kvira originally thought that after developing a new golden form, he would be able to fight Trunks, but he didn't expect that he still underestimated Trunks. Frieza dodged Trunks' sword energy, but he was also shocked. He was too strong. He was not weaker than Sun Bei and the other two he met a few months ago. The key point was that Trunks was still in Super Saiyan form. Trunks saw that Frieza dodged his sword attack and quickly approached Frieza. The two soon fought at close range. Trunks held the sword and attacked fiercely one after another. Although Frieza was already at the 6th level, he had no weapons and had to use energy attached to his arms to resist Trunks' attack. The figures of the two people kept appearing in the sky, and under the explosions of the two, deep pits kept appearing on the entire planet. Ha ha ha, stupid Saiyan, I wonder how long you can hold on. Frieza looked at Trunks who was already panting across from him and said arrogantly, but he was actually surprised. Frieza himself had suffered a lot to be as strong as he is today, but the Saiyan across from him actually had such strength. If I remember correctly, the Saiyan in front of him was less than 30 years old. A threat, definitely a threat, a stronger threat than Son Goku and Vegeta. Frieza was surprised, and Trunks was even more frightened. He was indeed the person who suppressed the scions so much that they could not raise their heads. Although he had only heard some rumors from his mother, he found out when they actually fought that Frisia was many times stronger than Kfira. The two collided again, and there was a loud clacking sound. Not good. The next moment, Trunks retreated violently. Unbeknownst to him, the sword in his hand had already collapsed under the overload of his use. You're done, Scion. Frisia seized the opportunity and launched a fierce attack, and Trunks was instantly put into a passive position. Boom! Trunks was knocked into the ground by the king, and then a large amount of energy gathered at the king's fingertips. Destroy along with the planet. Kfira was shocked, not good. The next moment, Frisia's planet-destroying bomb was crushing in the direction where Trunks fell. Soon, Kfira's planet began to disintegrate under Frisia's planet-destroying bomb, and soon it exploded. Frisia. Asshole. At the critical moment, Kfira quickly flew away from the planet and entered the space, but even so, the already injured Kfira was further injured, spitting blood from his mouth from time to time. Frisia looked at him in surprise. Oh, my big brother, you actually survived, but the ending is the same. You just died later. Kfira knew that he could not be a match for Frisia. Although he was not dead yet, he had been seriously injured before, and the impact of the planet explosion made his injuries even worse. Although Frisia was also affected by the planetary explosion, he did not suffer serious injuries. Kfira laughed and said, Frisia, do you think you can really kill me? Frisia replied, why, my big brother, do you want me to spare your life for the sake of being a fellow race? Don't be naive. You'd better go to hell in peace. Frisia's fingertips quickly gathered energy, but the next moment, Frisia started cursing. Because Kfira's body suddenly disappeared into space. Damn it, teleportation. You may have escaped this time, but I'll see how you escape next time. Teleportation is by no means unsolvable. At Frisia's level, he can already interfere with space. However, he did not expect that Kfira could actually teleport, which allowed Kfira to escape. Because of Kfira, Frisia did not notice that a black hole appeared out of nowhere in the center of the planet's explosion, constantly swallowing up the fragments of the planet. Trunks did not die with the destruction of the planet, but was instead sucked into the black hole. On Earth, since Goku and Vegeta disappeared a few days ago, Gohan and Piccolo have returned to the heavens to continue their training. Although they are very strong now, they cannot relax for a moment when they think about the enemies they will face in the future, which are angels and gods. On this day, Son Gohan and Piccolo had just finished their training and were preparing to return to the ground from heaven. Suddenly, a space-time passage appeared in the sky above heaven, and then a figure fell from the passage. Son Gohan was quick-witted and caught the person in an instant, placing him on the celestial square. Scion. After seeing the man's appearance clearly, Son Gohan was also uneasy, because although Trunks was unconscious, he still had golden hair, and Son Gohan had seen this Trunks once when he was a child when he was fighting Cell. Piccolo also came over at this time. It's a Scion, it should be Trunks. Son Gohan looked at the space-time passage that had not disappeared in the sky above the heavens. Uncle Piccolo, did you feel it just now? Piccolo said solemnly, it should be a time-space channel. Just now, I did detect a familiar evil aura. Wake this person up first and ask him what happened. Soon, Super Nanny Dandy came to the square. Dandy touched Trunks' body with both hands, and a green life energy wrapped around Trunks. After a while, Trunks woke up. Are you awake? Trunks opened his eyes and was shocked when he saw Gohan clearly. Are you Gohan, brother? Are you really Trunks? What happened? Why did you come out of that tunnel so badly injured? For Trunks, Son Gohan is his first enlightenment teacher in life. It was Son Gohan who protected him with his life, otherwise he would have died at the hands of the androids long ago. Although Trunks knows that the Son Gohan in front of him is not the Son Gohan from his own time and space, he still maintains respect for him. It was Frisia. I don't know why, but Frisia was resurrected. I was in the middle of a battle with Frisia, and was brought here by a black hole created by a planetary explosion. Piccolo stepped forward. Is it really Frisia? I see. I was wondering why Vegeta and the others couldn't find any trace of him. Just now they had discovered a familiar aura from the space-time channel. They were just wondering about it at first, but they never thought it was real. Just then, the space-time channel seemed to begin to shrink, and Piccolo said, let's go, Gohan. Trunks stepped forward to stop the two men. Brother Gohan, Frisia is very powerful now, you guys. Piccolo said, don't worry, with the current strength of Gohan and I, unless he is a true god, he can't be our opponent. Gohan was already angry after hearing about Frisia, and without waiting for Trunks to stop him, he flew directly into the time and space tunnel. Seeing that he couldn't stop him, Trunks followed Piccolo and stepped in. Piccolo turned around and said to Dendy, "Dandy, the Earth is in your care." Although Dendy is only an auxiliary Namekian, his combat power cannot be underestimated. With his growth over the years, his combat power has already exceeded hundreds of millions. It's just that he doesn't like fighting by nature. With him on Earth, peace on Earth can almost be ensured. Shortly after the three people entered the space-time channel, under the influence of the world's laws, the space-time channel disappeared soon after. I don't know how long it took, maybe 1 day, maybe 10 days, when the three left that vortex of time and space, they found themselves in the starry sky of the universe. At this time, the entire galaxy was in the midst of war. After defeating Trunks and sending Kefira fleeing, Frieza began his journey of conquest. Kefira has also been in a state of escape during this period. The former South Galaxy Kefira Empire has been violently conquered by Frieza. Although Kefira's mecha team has grown to a combat power of millions after so many years, it is nothing in front of Frieza. Except for Saviza who surrendered, all of them were destroyed by Frieza. Saviza, you disappoint me. I'll give you 5 more days. If you can't find where Kefira is hiding, you will turn into fireworks in the universe. On a huge planet, Frieza said coldly. In this time and space, Trunks is dead, and only Kefira makes Frieza worried. Although Frieza believes in his own strength, Kefira's growth also makes Frieza feel afraid. You know, his souls from 3 time and space are merged into one in Hell, and he is constantly tempered in Hell every day. That's why he quickly evolved his life dimension to the 5th level after his rebirth. Later, he was joined forces by Sun Bei and the others, and survived the crisis, and reached the current 6th level frozen demon form. But what about Kefira? He has achieved his current combat power just in the world of the living. Although his father has described him as the strongest genius in the tribe since he was a child, he knows that it was just that Crude wanted to use him to check and balance Kefira. His elder brother is the real genius, who has one more transformation than other members of the tribe when he is born. And this time coming to this time and space also confirmed this point. Although the golden form of Kefira is not as good as his 5th level transformation, it is also very strong, so that Frieza has no time to stay on the Earth and has been looking for Kefira's trace. Because Kefira often sparred with Trunks, he naturally learned the ability to hide his energy. Otherwise, with Frieza's current strength, Kefira's powerful life reaction would have been discovered long ago. Saviza is also a scoundrel. If he had not wanted to save his life, how could he have joined Frieza? He thought that with his combat power of over 1 million, he would be valued by Frieza, but he never expected that Frieza simply disdained him. At this moment, Salby came in a hurry and said, "My lord, we have discovered 3 powerful life reactions heading towards our planet." Powerful? Lord Salby, how powerful? Salby said quickly, "Of course we can't compare with the Great King, but according to the calculation of the super brain, the combat power of the 3 life reactions exceeds 100 billion. Frieza was shocked. "What did you say? 100 billion? Salby replied, "Yes, my lord. Our current measurement technology cannot detect anything above 100 billion, but all 3 reactions have exceeded the upper limit. It is definitely above 100 billion. Frieza replied, "Interesting, who could it be? Could it be Goku and Vegeta?" Although Kefira's combat power exceeds this number, Frieza knows that Kefira would never dare to appear in front of him. With their strength, if Kefira wants to surpass him, he will have to practice for at least another 10 years. Solbei, can the other party's location be tracked? My king, at their speed, they should be able to reach our planet in less than 10 minutes. Frieza stood up and stretched himself. It looks like you're coming for me. I just wonder if you'll be scared to tears and you find out that my combat power is definitely 400 billion. Ha 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 ha. In space, Trunks is still in shock. Super Saiyan 4 Son Gohan appears in his sight for the first time. At the same time, Piccolo's form also makes Trunks feel a little pressured. Of course, Trunks was shocked, and so were Son Gohan and Piccolo. Although Trunks' strength was much weaker than theirs, it had definitely reached the limit of destruction. Especially the rich burning golden aura on Trunks' body, which made the two feel that even the purple-red and dark blue states of Son Goku and Vegeta were much worse. Son Gohan, Piccolo and Trunks did not wonder why the other party was so powerful, because the stronger the other party was, the greater the possibility of killing Frieza. Along the way, Trunks said that Frieza's new form was ridiculously strong. If he hadn't developed the new form of Super Saiyan half a year ago and had Kefira as a sparring partner in this time and space, he would have had no chance of winning against Frieza at all. The 3 of them escaped directly into the subspace in the universe and flew at a high speed in the direction they sensed. A few minutes later, the three of them appeared in the outer space of a super-large planet. I can feel it. Frisia is on the planet below. Piccolo replied, yes, let me give him a big gift. Doesn't he like playing planet destruction? After Piccolo finished speaking, an energy ball with a true diameter of more than hundreds of thousands of meters condensed from his fingertips, and then he threw it directly towards the planet below. Son Gohan and Trunks felt their scalps tingling as they watched, and then they remembered that the person next to them was once a great demon king. Inside the planet, Frisia was waiting for the three energies to arrive, but he never expected that suddenly, a supergiant energy ball fell from the sky. By the time they discovered it, it was too late. What? Who wants to blow up a planet just because of a disagreement? Salb and other members of Frisia's army had not expected that this time the invaders would be so ruthless. They did not even land on the planet but directly launched a planet-destroying attack. However, it was too late. They could only watch the planet under their feet disintegrate in an instant. They turned into dust in the universe without even seeing the enemy. The planet exploded, and Frisia directly transformed into a sixth-order ice demon, rushing out of the explosion along the trajectory of the energy ball. It's you. You're not dead. Frisia didn't expect that the scion who disappeared with the destruction of the planet Kvira more than 10 days ago was not dead and came with two helpers. However, Son Gohan is now in the Super Saiyan 4 state, and Piccolo is also in a new form. For a moment, he couldn't remember who these two people were, but just felt that they looked familiar. Son Gohan and the other two knew that Frisia could not have died in the destruction of the planet, but they did not expect that he would be many times stronger than he was half a year ago, just as Trunks said. You know, half a year ago, when Goku and Vegeta transformed into Super God Purple and Super God Deep Blue, although they were not as powerful as him when they joined forces, they were still able to contend with him. But now, Gohan knew that if he asked his father and Vegeta to come again, it would probably be a one-sided crushing. Of course, he and Piccolo don't know yet that Goku and Vegeta have now become gods of destruction and their strength has been greatly improved. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, Son Gohan thought about how he did not practice well in the past, and how his relatives on Earth were ruthlessly killed by Frisia. When he thought about how those who had died on Earth now would never have the possibility of resurrection, a sense of hostility came over him. Frisia, accept your death. Before Frisia could react, Son Gohan had already burst out with all his energy and rushed out. Boom! Frisia's 6th level form was definitely about to reach its peak in the destruction limit, but in front of Son Gohan, he didn't even have time to react and was sent flying several thousand meters away by a single punch. Who are you? Trunks' eyes widened. Brother Gohan is so strong, and he has such a strong temper. Piccolo said, Gohan has become stronger again. He has been training very hard every day for more than half a year just to seek revenge on Frisia. Trunks still doesn't know about the evil deeds Frisia committed on Earth half a year ago. After Piccolo's explanation, he finally understands why Brother Gohan is so angry. Trunks asked, don't we have to go up and help? No, let's keep an eye on the retreat route and make sure Frisia doesn't escape. Perhaps seeing Trunks' worry, he then said, in the realm of destruction limit, Gohan is invincible, don't worry. No one knows Gohan's strength as well as Piccolo. In the past 6 months, Gohan has already reached a bottleneck in his practice of Super Saiyan 4. The reason why he has not been able to break through may be because Frisia is not dead yet. Among all the people Piccolo has ever met, probably no one can compare to Gohan's talent, except for the father and son Sun Tian who once made a stunning appearance. Not even Son Goku and Vegeta can compare to him. Gohan who practices seriously and fully releases his talent and potential can be said to be unbeatable by anyone unless the Angel Whist takes action. Even the so-called god of destruction Beerus is not qualified. On the other side, Frisia was completely suppressed and soon fell into a disadvantage facing the violent Son Gohan. The key point was that until now he still didn't know where he had provoked such a powerful enemy. Damn it, who are you targeting? Frisia roared while fending off Son Gohan's attack, and fear arose in his heart. Frisia, have you forgotten me so quickly? Son Gohan's rage exploded wildly, and even the edge of the entire galaxy could feel this violent aura. On a remote planet, Kvira felt the breath coming from the direction of the southern galaxy in disbelief. Who is that person? One of these two breaths is Frisia, who has become stronger. But who is the one fighting against him? He feels stronger than Frisia. After more than 10 days, Kvira's injuries have basically recovered, but he has been hiding his energy for fear of being found by Frisia. At the same time, all the planets in the Milky Way with living beings felt depressed, as if the entire space was about to shatter. At this time, Frisia also began to burst out with all his strength. The aftermath of the battle between the two continued to impact, and the surrounding planets were constantly destroyed under this aftermath. Son Gohan has already comprehended the Science law of violence to the extreme and may break through at any time. Under the pressure of Son Gohan, Frisia's understanding of the law of destruction is becoming deeper and deeper. Damn it, you are a Scion, damn Scion, who are you? With one punch, Son Gohan blasted Frisia several thousand meters away again. Both of them had increased their speed and strength to the extreme. Under the attack of the two, cracks continued to appear in the void of the universe, the space was shattered, and the dimensions were destroyed. It directly entered the four-dimensional dimension from the three-dimensional space and time, and then returned to the three-dimensional space and time from the four-dimensional dimension. Frisia would never connect this powerful enemy in front of him with Son Gohan, whom he crushed easily half a year ago. He just thought that he was a senior Scion that Trunks found from somewhere. The momentum of both of them continued to rise. Frisia was worthy of being the super talent of the Ice Clan. After being suppressed at the beginning, he actually developed his potential again, and his understanding of the law of destruction became deeper and deeper. A random energy bomb contains the power to destroy the world. If the god of destruction of the 12 universes saw it, they would probably be scared to death. But Son Gohan is stronger, and no matter how Frisia fights back, he just crushes him violently. Mad man, you mad man. Frisia cursed loudly, mainly because Son Gohan was too crazy. He was fighting him without caring about his life. Frisia thought he was crazy enough, but now compared with Son Gohan, there was a huge gap. The more they fought, the more frightened Frisia became, as the opponent's power seemed endless. In the southern galaxy, the battle between Frisia and Son Gohan caused the entire galaxy to fall into panic. In just a few dozen minutes, a vacuum zone appeared around them, and all the asteroids turned into nothingness under the aftermath of the battle between the two. In the entire area of several light years, apart from the stars emitting endless light, there is no surviving planet to be seen. Countless lives have been killed and injured, but the two men have already fought to a fierce level and can't care about so much. Trunks had already been frightened by Son Gohan's madness, and Piccolo was also surprised by Gohan's madness. The two had not expected that Gohan would be so violent when he went crazy. Fortunately, both of them are masters of the limit of destruction, so although the aftermath of the battle is very strong, it has no effect on them. In the void, Frisia was in a very bad mood at the moment. He had been fighting for such a long time, but he didn't even know who his opponent was. There was nothing more frustrating than this, but he had to fight. Frisia thought about withdrawing and escaping, but Son Gohan was 10% faster than him, so he had no chance at all. No, I must make another breakthrough, otherwise I'm really going to die here today. Frisia's law of destruction had already reached the critical point. In the void, Frisia revealed a flaw, and Son Gohan, who had already been possessed by the devil, was seized by Frisia and was pushed back tens of thousands meters away. Then Frisia roared, and the energy in his entire body changed rapidly, and his form was also constantly changing. An aura that was far stronger than before emanated from Frisia's body. Frisia's new form surprised Piccolo and Trunks as he transformed into a 7th-level ice demon. Frisia's body, which was already nearly 5 meters tall, grew even bigger and directly exploded to nearly 9 meters. His entire head became even more hideous, with the 4 horns on his head standing upside down, nearly 1 meter long, and emitting a cold purple light. His entire body was wrapped in a layer of bone armor, and a pair of demon wings nearly 5 meters long grew behind him. The mysterious patterns on the demon wings emitted a weird light. Even though Piccolo and Trunks had reached their limit of destruction, they still felt like the other party could easily destroy them. Frisia felt the changes in his body and roared. He finally advanced. At the same time, a powerful aura of law flowed through his body, and the parts of his body that were originally injured by Son Gohan had already recovered. Scion, I don't care who you are, but now I grant you destruction. As Frisia's voice fell, Son Gohan actually felt that his body, which had reached its destructible limit, was being destroyed by a powerful energy. But the next time, Son Gohan also roared, and all the strength in his body surged out of his body madly, instantly destroying this energy. At the same time, Son Gohan's body began to change. The red fur began to turn silver, the originally black hair quickly grew longer and turned silver, and silver arcs as thick as arms flashed around the body, making the whole person look even more violent. Frisia was shocked. He didn't expect that after his breakthrough, the opponent also changed into a completely new form, and it seemed that the form was no worse than his own. Damn it, what on earth is going on? Frisia was furious, but Frisia, who had transformed into the 7th level, would not just run away. Instead, he took the initiative to attack again. Son Gohan quickly adapted to the new form, mainly because he already had enough foundation before. In half a year, he entered the spiritual time chamber to practice 10 times, which is equivalent to 10 years. He had already practiced Super Saiyan 4 to the extreme. If Frieza had not been found and his knot in his heart had not been resolved, he would probably have reached Super Saiyan 5 long ago. Frieza, you're done. Seeing Frieza taking the initiative to attack, Son Gohan smiled evilly and suddenly threw a punch. A space crack several thousand meters wide appeared, and at the same time, Son Gohan grabbed Frieza's attacking arm at an extremely fast speed. Although Frieza successfully broke through the 7th level, his foundation was much worse than Son Gohan's, and he couldn't get rid of his arm in a short time. The two men competed in strength, but Frieza only felt a force like a violent storm. Damn it, how can you be so strong? Son Gohan said angrily, bear my wrath. One of them is nearly 9 meters tall, while the other is less than 2 meters tall, but it gives people the impression that Son Gohan is taller. Son Gohan pulled hard with both hands, and Frieza's arm was torn off, and blood spurted out like a fountain. No way, why? Frieza spread his devil wings and quickly retreated. At the same time, the 4 sharp horns on his head suddenly detached from his body and quickly shot towards Son Gohan, who was holding his broken arm from 4 directions. Go to hell. Son Gohan didn't expect that the sharp horns on Frieza's head could actually leave the body to attack. Due to his carelessness, one of his arms was pierced by one of the horns, but he immediately dodged the attacks of the other 3 horns. Gohan, big brother Gohan. Piccolo and Trunks did not expect the unexpected situation to happen, but with their current strength, they could not help much even if they stepped forward. Son Gohan casually pulled out the sharp horn that pierced his arm, and saw blood and flesh rolling on his arm. After a while, the pierced part of his arm returned to its original state. Frieza was shocked. He didn't expect that the opponent had such a strong recovery ability. He quickly tried to retract the 4 horns, but he only retracted 3. The sharp horn on Son Gohan's hand kept trembling, trying to return to Frieza's side, but how could Son Gohan do as Frieza wished? A violent breath poured in, directly cutting off the connection between the sharp horn and Frieza. Frieza, who was far away, spat out a mouthful of blood. Asshole, give me back my God of Destruction horn. The 4 horns of the God of Destruction are condensed from Frieza's laws of destruction, and once lost, they will never regenerate. Son Gohan held the horn in his hand and found that it was so strong that even he could hardly destroy it. Frieza was in a hurry, and the devil wings behind him quickly spread out. The next moment, powerful auras came from the devil wings. Damn it, who are you? We have no grudges against each other, why are you targeting me? Son Gohan looked up at the furious Frieza and said, Frieza, how come you don't recognize me after only half a year? A familiar voice sounded in Frieza's mind. Suddenly, Frieza thought of half a year ago when he had completed his training and went to Earth. You are Son Gohan. Impossible. How could you become so strong? I couldn't believe it, but I couldn't find another Saiyan who matched me. Frieza didn't expect that Son Gohan, whom he didn't like, would become so strong. Even though he had broken through to the 7th level and became a true god, and had fully mastered the law of destruction, he was still no match for him. I underestimated him. He is much more powerful than Goku and Vegeta. The Saiyan who had always hidden behind the Namekian has completely changed his personality. Frieza had come into contact with Son Gohan before, but he was always a peace-loving and indecisive person. But now the Saiyan facing him has changed his personality drastically. He has become violent, ruthless, cold-blooded, and brutal. Son Gohan laughed wildly toward the sky, thanks to you, I have awakened, I have crawled out of hell, and I will no longer be naive. Frieza, the sins you have committed and the harm you have caused to my family, let's put an end to it today.